Oh my god, this house is on fire. There's flames everywhere. We have to get out. Everyone assemble by the door in alphabetical order. Who is that? Some kind of amusable Bman?
Yes, I'm here.
Hurry, hurry. We need to stack up. How does the alphabet go? Cobra the Slav, get over here.
I'm too busy, Norg. I'm too busy steep posting. I'm too busy with horse archery and masturbation, the two arts of my ancestors.
You're sitting on a chair that's literally on fire. How are you still? I don't have time to consider this. Zeem, there you are. Come on, get to the door. Hurry.
No, this is fine. This is a good pain.
Oh no, the bed is dragging on too long. Hurry, Zeem. Introduce yourself.
I could say that this is a shitty fire drill joke, but it's also a terrible Holocaust joke.
Oy vey!
All right, boys. We're a minute into this. Zeem has already pulled the Jew card. I have a good feeling. About this.
It's gonna be a good cast.
My name is Alexander Zaitsev. I guess I'm your host tonight. Welcome everyone to this special Neil Druckmann executive produced episode. The man himself is standing behind a curtain. He has a mocap suit on. We're not sure why yet. He refuses to answer why.
He also has a boner and a shotgun. I don't know which one is more threatening.
Also, there's a small Asian boy standing like 5 feet away from him. Let's see what happens.
And if you really narrow your eyes, you can see in the distance Todd Howard in a Teletubby suit holding another shotgun. We believe it's full of beanbag shot. We're not sure yet. He also refuses to speak until we purchase Skyrim.
He's defending the Chicago
you guys-
Autonomous Zone.
I can't wait until later this year to purchase Skyrim on the PS5 again.
You joke. That's going to happen. It's going to be like fucking like classic or whatever edition Skyrim.
Listen. We did not come here to have a bad time. We did not come here to purchase Skyrim. Let's skip on straight on to the meat of the meal, because you all know why we're here. Everyone's been briefed. We all know why. Zeem, why we're here?
We're here to talk about The Last of Drucks.
The Last of Drucks, of course. I knew that.
The Duck Man.
Yes.
The Duck Man.
The Duck Man. The Mocap Man.
The man who made a sex scene with his own self-insert so he could grind up against a married voice actor.
Yes. I figured we can start this off by me just admitting. Okay, folks, let's be real here for a second. I just gotta tell you, I am amazed by the doctrine of the Druckman. He has astounded me continuously every single day by the extent of his genius. But
you realize it's not his doctrine, right?
Listen, Scene. Okay, there have been times in my life where I wake up and I say to myself, you know what? I wish I had the funds to make Sony do pornography for me, but I lack the drive and the will and the genius to do so.
He isn't even original. You know who he stole this from?
Oh.
He stole this from fucking what's his shit?
Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
No, David Cage.
That's true. David
Cage. He can't even be original about his like fucking director schlock.
What the hell is that thing that Otto said earlier? Like, if you had David Cage and Druckmann team up within a few days, they'd figured out how to make slave leg illegal in their studio.
That's Randy. That's Pitchford. That's Randy. Pitchford.
That was like that sounded like something Otto would say, but I think the other one was like the Twitter post that was like, and then Druckmann will get fired. Like, will manage to get fired from Naughty Dog and then join Gearbox, and then he and Randy Pitchford will team up and find a way to make Borderlands 4 for totally free
using actual
slave labor
for devs. Yeah.
literally chained to their desks, forced to work on it. Like, I still want to know, did this man somehow fucking casting couch Laura Bailey?
Apparently she did, which is amazing.
I don't know. I know, like, for some reason, he gave, like, a huge credit to the development to the Philippines or something, which makes me think really hard.
It was done in fucking, what do you call it? It was done in a fucking sweatshop. He outsourced the actual animation to people who can actually do it, I guess.
Oh no, it's content alert, boys. Ring the bell. Are you guys ready? Are you guys prepared? All right.
Oh no.
Here comes the first question of the quiz of the day. This one goes for 100 points. Answer honestly. Have you ever been sexted by Chris Avellone?
That was funny as shit. He went into like, I'll eat your pussy real good. Like a little bit later, he's like, I'm so sorry.
Listen, this man is purported by the majority of the video game playing and RPG loving majority as being a great writer, and this is the best he comes up with. Are you serious?
It's fucking ridiculous.
You herald yourself as being like one of the central columns, like the pillars upholding like the mastery that is video game writing, and the best you came up with is, you may have to listen very hard while your hands dig into the sides of your head and force me deep into your pussy. Or we can just talk to smiley face.
Oh
my god.
This is wow.
One of the primo games, and the best he comes up with is show Bob's and Fagini.
I do not.
When you're horny, your IQ drops like 50 points.
No,
ladies and gentlemen, I present to
like
you.
Him, who's sitting around like 90, goes down to like 40.
Let's be honest.
IQ 90 is still below average. Scene.
I know.
Chris Avellone is the original American Indian. What a man.
What the fuck?
Sorry, what?
Bob's and Vidya. I get the joke. Bob's and
The
Vidya.
joke is, if he was any good at actually writing, he wouldn't be working in games.
I mean,
Wow.
Chris Avellone was responsible for Planescape Torment, so it's just this is exactly the kind of hilarity I expect from reality, though, where it's just like, and then.
At this point, I believe some unpaid intern did all the work and he took the credit.
He's just building up the groundworks for his inevitable redemption arc when he resurrects Black Isle.
I mean, we could say that, but also the time that he made those games was when unpaid interns in Vidya was not really a thing. Like, this was before everything got over corporatized.
Yeah, fair.
So
something about
we can't really know for sure.
Maybe it was just he had actual passion for that game, and everything now is just like he doesn't give a fuck.
Or well, like also he's kind of a cuck. I mean, like when he did when he did like remember when it was like Chris Avellone dropping bombs on forums talking shit about Obsidian and the mismanagement, and then like everyone's like talking about it like he's like dropping mad knowledge, and then you go in and he's just like, yeah, you know, we had producers that just couldn't code and that was a problem. And it's like the most mild-mannered, like, you know, people are incompetent in corporations. Yeah. Who would have thought?
My main thing is that, okay, he got caught sexting really fucking awkwardly and it fucking failed, but have you seen how slimy he is being on his fucking Twitter? He's just like, please hate me. Please.
I'm absolutely sure that he's just the classic writer where he's like, he can be brilliant with words when he has several hours and a lot of alcohol. But before that, if he's like just thinking on the fly, he's like, oh fuck, I have no idea what I'm doing. And he's just like, I'm pressured into sexting faster because this lady is expecting me, or else she'll go sex somebody else. And it's like, welcome to modernity. You have to like.
Can you imagine the day? Like, imagine we're in an alternate universe where video games blew up a lot more than they did. Imagine Chris Avellone on Twitter coming in one day with the hot take. The acolytes in the Brotherhood of Steel do not use toilets. They use advanced technology from the pre-war in order to banish their leavings.
Yeah. Oh god, stop.
Directly into the plasma core to fuel it.
He just shows up one day and goes, fucking Veronica from New Vegas was actually straight.
Well, like, here's the thing. Here's the fucked up thing is that, like, we were talking about that earlier, but it's like, and we just made reference to Chris Avellone. It's like he probably is a real writer. He's just doesn't work that well under like time constraints and pressure or something. I guess maybe if we're like armchair psychologying this, but J.K. Rowling on the other hand might have been just a fucking figurehead for Scholastic, and like for a long time that was a theory that held a little bit of water. That like that Scholastic was like, this is our fucking golden goose. And just had a fucking team of ghostwriters making the Harry Potter books.
That might be true, because I have a theory about her most recent behavior online, which is that she never stopped writing after Harry Potter, but she started publishing under pseudonyms, and those books became super unpopular, which might have led her to be like, is it me who is a shit writer? No, it is the current times that are wrong.
I mean,
now the funny thing about
her original story was that she couldn't get the first Harry Potter book fucking published.
Yeah, actually, the funny thing about that, she does write under a pseudonym. She writes like crime thrillers under a completely separate identity.
Like all other female writers, of course, she writes crime drama. Naturally. Yeah. I'm not judging, I'm merely pointing that out because I am a sexist.
I am judging though. Crime dramas are always almost unanimously shit because they don't know anything about actual like cop work. Like, they don't understand how the job works.
The problem is like it's the same thing as legal thrillers, where it's like if you made something that was like really accurate, it would be boring as fuck, and you have to be a really good writer to make, because like. The thing is that realism in art, especially literature, is all about is not about like making things close to reality. It's about making things so grounded that your suspension of disbelief like very rarely disappears.
To make a proper law drama that's like realistic would be crippling depression and how broken the system is.
Yeah, it's like the truth is like the more realistic you make something, the harder it is as a writer to make it entertaining. And it's like it can be done, but
yep. Here's her pseudonym, Robert Galbraith.
That's her pseudonym. She publishes under a man's name.
Yep, she publishes under a man's name for her crime drama.
But why though?
It kind of reminds me. I do actually have a fucking court drama if you guys wanted, but it's horribly depressing. Like, holy shit.
Yes, we've
like
heard a lot about
shit. It is so generally awful.
Before you talk about that though, Cobra, allow me to do a final thing about literature, and that is to say that if I ever do a literature cast in here one time, if we drag in pseudo and some shit, I need to sit you guys down and tell you about Jul Nesbø and the absolute state of Norwegian crime thrillers.
I feel bad because I used to really like Scandinavian crime movies.
It used to be excellent, but now it's died down to nothing.
Yeah, it's just because like the thing about European cinema is that nobody in Europe, not even the French, has the fucking budget Hollywood does. So they have to focus on like story and plot, which is like the unfortunate truth with mass entertainment is that like it's a bunch of people going, this is art. And it's like, no, what you're trying to do is actually sell a product. You're saying that it's art to justify the fact that your budget sucks. And like French stuff like is very hit and miss because a lot of French stuff is just up its own ass because they're just up their
French.
own asses.
Make art with their movies are making a whole like incomprehensible nonsense, which can be fun to watch, but it's not the I have a small crime drama. It's art.
Yeah, but it's like for every but like the thing is that luckily you do get stuff like like for every fucking 100 like girl with a dragon tattoo or some shit.
Are they releasing that again?
Those books were pretty good.
God, fuck no, not again.
I mean, the books were well written, but they were still a stupid story. Like it's just
yes, absolutely.
I'm so goddamn tired of just every European fucking like high-minded thriller always ending up, and then a secret society of Nazis was secretly in control of our country the whole time.
Do you think maybe we have a few issues collectively in the European
it's
trauma center?
It's called that you guys are still all pretending to be fucking modern democratic republics when the truth is that everybody in Europe would prefer to have an aristocracy again. Like you have a de facto aristocracy,
The only reason I want an aristocracy back is because the smile of King Harold V is really wholesome.
King Hakon. Yeah.
No, Harold.
Is that your current
The
one?
prince is Håkon.
Oh, okay. That was why I couldn't ever find it, because you kept getting me confused when you were in the Royal Marines. You were telling me about, like, I will defend the smile of this man until my country burns.
There is literally a web page you can go to right now, which is called Kong Harald Smile or .no or something, which is literally just an immense compilation of the king smiling, and it's really.
I'm sorry. Did you say Camalosa? Camalosa?
No, we don't need any help.
Oh my god!
You just ordered 1,000 liters of milk.
This is now a Scandinavian podcast.
Oh fuck!
No, 1 second.
Hinger, let me break out the Swedish accent.
Norg, it's okay because we actually have a kink here as well. Do you know what happened to him?
What?
A kink, not a king?
Both actually.
The Bulgarian king story is hilarious. Go ahead.
Yes, it's great. So basically, we have a history where every single king we had was a fucking retard, right? And it was great. It was generally fucking great because I'm not gonna get into it so it doesn't take 2 hours, but essentially first we had a really militaristic party that was kind of like the Japanese Empire, right? You know how the Japanese were fucking genocidal toward all their neighbors. They were like, we have the Bushido, we can take these planes down with our swords.
That's unsubstantiated Western propaganda.
Like, we were like that, though. So
and then
what
I
we
play
did
a
was,
clip of War Thunder.
we basically just we declared war on every single one of our neighbors at the same time, like a neighboring nation, and they kind of kicked the shit out of us. So what we did is we decided, hey, let's do it again. And we did it again, and it still happened. So our little like society of batshit crazy military officials were like, what if we do it 3 times in a row, though? I think that's going to help.
3rd time.
So,
Brilliant.
Yes, the German strategy.
All of our peasants, like random farmers and shit, were like, yo, we're all going to go to the capital and just kick the absolute shit out of anyone in a military uniform. We're just going to beat the fuck out of them. So we had like a huge rebellion, which wasn't even like an organized thing because we didn't even want a revolution. We just wanted to beat the fuck out of our own army.
Yes, the tracksuit junta. I remember.
Yeah, it was literally that. So at this point, we had our only competent king, King Boris, who was like 10 years old. So we just kind of found him in his palace after he put everyone in a headlock. He was just like, as soon as I'm done beating the shit out of my own men, I'm coming for you. Get the fuck back to your farms. And God bless him, he did it. He beat the shit out of everyone. Like, his whole legacy is, he, as a king, hated poets so fucking much. Like, you know how in all the other countries they're like, oh yes, we made a patronage to this poet and he made such a wonderful play. If you were a poet in Bulgaria and King Boris comes to your house and breaks your fucking legs, he's like, I'm only letting you be literate so you can do my accounting. I'm not paying you to fucking write poetry. So,
Based in Boris Pilled.
we have a fucking page. We have a whole fucking page in our history in which all of our poetry is just variations of I hope the king doesn't come over and beat the shit out of me for writing this. It's fucking great because
fucking
like
king, down. Is that iambic pentameter right here? No, king, no.
What was his opinion on songs? Could you get away with it in songs?
No, you still get the shit. You just still get the shit kicked out of you. And the best thing is, he generally was a great guy. Like he was generally a great guy to everyone else. Like Hitler came over and he's like, "Yo, we're allied in World War II." And he started killing some Jews, and he's like, "No, I like my Jews. I like my people. I'm not gonna kill anyone." He says while strangling a poet to death, like he's just beating the shit out of him.
I mean, that man knew what was going on. It's like, destroy the merchant caste of people that usually have all the trade skills and destroy my economy. How about I just kill these worthless assholes who made their living by yelling at people in rhyme?
It's great. It's great. He killed so
what would
many
you do,
fucking
Cobra, if you were king? And it's like, on one side of the street are all the people that have wronged me. Their skills are picking up women and being good at playing the guitar or some other instrument that has no fucking use to civilization beyond entertainment. On the other side of the street is all the people that run your economy, do all of your like fine fucking artisan work, and occasionally move goods across the border to people for trade.
Yeah,
Which one would you kill? All right, let's kill all the people that like fucking do all like my blacksmithing and fucking jewel crafting and everything.
Perfect.
That's what happened with fucking Suleiman the Magnificent during the Spanish Inquisition. Like the Spanish Inquisition, when it started, before they were like, we have to burn the Jews, they're like, all right, kick all of them out. And all the Jews had to leave Spain. And Suleiman was like, I am a Muslim and a Turk. I hate Jews. But you know what? You guys are all like college educated, like the equivalent of college educated professors and fucking doctors and shit. I could really use a whole bunch of doctors in my country. Come to fucking the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah.
And then like, just all the Spanish Jews moved to the Ottoman Empire, and Suleiman the Magnificent was like, look, I am a strategic genius.
Look, it's
and
all
meanwhile,
me.
Spain is sitting there like, fuck.
God, imagine if that fucking Bulgarian king you were talking about was alive today to see performance artists. How fucking ballistic would he be?
No, Cobra, tell them about the last Bulgarian, like king failure you told me about.
Yeah,
The
that's
one
the
that's
thing.
just like the alcoholic dad king.
Yeah, that's the best fucking thing. So anyway, King Boris II fucking died, unfortunately. Hitler kind of poisoned him. So he had a whole royal family though, right? Only we lost them. We misplaced them, and we couldn't find them again.
You just misplaced the royal family.
We kind of lost them. And like it was great because the Soviets came over and they were like, okay, you're ready for communism. To prove your loyalty, you must kill your king. And we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have to find him first. Yeah. Yeah. And they're like, where the fuck is he? And we're just like, I don't fucking know.
Objective complete question mark.
Literally that.
You must kill your king. We've misplaced them. Close enough.
Can you imagine going to like the Bulgarian University of the Arts and you get like the inauguration? Some dude is like giving you the orientation and showing you around, and he's like, "And this is where you study poetry and shit like that." But I'll have to warn you, the ghost of the royal family under King Boris still roam these halls. And if he catches you, is he gonna kill us? No, but he will beat the shit out of you. My God, he is strong. We keep bringing in exorcists from the Vatican, but he keeps beating them up and throwing them out of the windows. We are just in awe of the sheer upper body strength of this fucking poltergeist. It's incredible.
Like the exorcists just keep coming in like... The exorcists just keep coming in like, in nomine padre, and he's like, is that fucking poetry? Here, get that foreign shit out of my goddamn face.
I hear a sing-song accent. No.
Some dude is just walking down the street having a phone conversation, and accidentally, without realizing it, while he's summarizing like what he needs to buy from the grocer, he makes a limerick, and everyone just stops talking, and they look at him, and he's like, the realization dawns, oh no, and he looks up the street and this fucking ghost is just running down, full sprint, full throttle, with the fucking laser eyes being like, and he just throws your ass into the fucking river. It's amazing.
God bless.
That is the experience. That is the
only hope
royal
for
family.
the Witch King to come back.
But yeah, his son, it turns out that the whole time we were like having a little fucking Cold War over here and shit. His son was just living on like a resort in Spain and millions and bajillions of dollars. Like, I don't know how he fit the entire royal treasury in his like little pockets, but he used them to just gamble until he ran out of money. So after he ran out of money, he was like, wait, my homeland isn't communist anymore. I can just, start being king again. So he comes over to us and he's like, yo, it's me, the king. Just coming to work. how's your day? You know, just you know, being king. That's what I do. And we're like, are we still supposed to shoot this man? Like we didn't we had like a thing going on? Like, Ivan, do you still have your gun? Aren't we supposed to do something? So he decided to start his own political party, right? The King Party. Very, very creative. And he made
King
this whole
party. What the?
yeah, that was his thing, because they were like, listen, you are the king of Bulgaria, but because we did a little bit of communism there, even though you're legally the king, you don't actually have any sort of power at all, and we don't even know where you stand in like the government ladder. We have no fucking idea where to put you here, because we're not even a monarchy anymore, not even constitutional.
They
So
should put
they're
him in
just like-
charge of paving the streets in Prague.
Oh God. But it's the one thing. It's like, okay, you're the king, but that apparently doesn't mean shit. You just get the title with nothing else. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna make the king party. And my agenda in the king party is going to be giving the king back all of his shit that you fucking stole, you piece of fucking asshole. yeah, that was his main fucking thing. And for some reason, everyone was enchanted by this idea. They were like, yo,
It's like,
if
hey.
we give him back his shit, maybe he'll make us rich again somehow.
Dear Parliament, on today's agenda, where the fuck is my shit? I know you took it. I see you over there, Vladimir, you piece of trash. Look me in the eyes while I'm pointing at you, okay?
It's
I
fucking
hear-
great.
I
Where
hereby
the
present
fuck is my piano?
Please elect me to give me supreme authority over this country forever.
I hereby present a parliamentary motion to give me all my fucking money back.
That's the thing. And the best fucking part is, by the time he got here, we had actually turned the royal palace into a museum of contemporary Soviet art. So he had a little bit of opinion about that. He had a little bit of a fucking fit about that. So we elected him, and the first thing he did was get shit-faced drunk. And we're like, okay, you know, that's normal. He's definitely got a national spirit. Whenever he sobers up, I'm sure he'll go back to being a king. The issue is that he didn't sober up for the next 3 or 4 years, maybe. He just kept drinking. God bless. He just kept fucking drinking, and it's fucking great because half of our budget of the entire country disappeared overnight. And it turns out that he'd spend it in a casino. Like, he had our fucking Federal Reserve on a debit card, and he just swiped it across the fucking slot machines.
God.
It was
Oh,
great. Yeah, and the best fucking thing is he decided to launder money in the best way possible, which is to say he decided to build a hospital in the middle of nowhere, like literally in the middle of uninhabited land. Nowhere fucking. And he's like, this is going to be the most advanced hospital in the entire world, and all the beds are going to cost 1 million euro. Please finance this right fucking now. And it's like, wow, these new medical beds that you brought in from China sure do look like Russian, like, fucking roulette machines.
Only the
What
Did he
is
build a
this?
casino?
He
Are you
did.
kidding me?
He did.
You can't.
wanted to
You
build a
can't
fucking
have patience on blackjack table, Your Eminence. Shut up. Yeah, we can.
And he's like, yeah, this is
How
a
did
medical
you
expenses.
Rat table.
Now said like, "Hey, I want to build a casino." You guys probably would have let him.
We would have
Blackjack
legitimately.
table. What do you think? I am a peasant? This is a baccarat table. Peasants don't even know the rules to this game.
And the best fucking thing is, you know, we were all up in arms. We're like, wait, were you just robbing us for the past 3 years? And he's just like, yeah, see how that fucking feels like, you piece of shit. See how you fucking like it? You like me stealing your shit, huh? You asshole.
This sounds like the story to the world's dumbest, like, biased anti-royalty political treatise book. It's like, imagine if Robert E. Heinlein wrote this shit and he was like, I really hate kings. Here's a retarded story to tell you why they suck.
It's great because it literally happened. He just stole his shit back and then left. He's just like, well, if you don't like me, applying these national funds to this hospital, I guess I'm just going to take them and leave back to Spain. And we're like, yeah, fine, fuck off. Wait, give us back the money first. But he was already fucking gone.
Then he already left.
Yeah, he'd already left. He was just like, well, if you don't want this money in the hospital, I guess I'll just take to my casino and fucking leave you. And he just fucked off.
Can't you just cancel this credit card? Yes, but no one in our nation owns a computer.
No, that's the best fucking thing. We had to do it. We had to cancel the king's credit card. Because she was gonna bankrupt our country from fucking gambling too much. It was great. But yeah, he kind of fucked it up a little bit. God bless him. He has a whole bunch of children too, which is awful.
How many children did he have?
I think about 5 or 6, maybe.
So any one of these like little cunts could just come back and be like, "Hey, can I be king?"
Literally bad.
Okay, it's time for Alex reviews, and here's a book that was presented by author Cobra. It's called The Bulgarian Monarchy. I kind of liked the story. It was a bit here and there. There were some unrealistic parts. Like, for instance, the fact that like a royal member could get away with siphoning national funds to build a casino and then fucking up to Spain. The world building was kind of sloppy. I've never even heard of Spain. Apparently, it used to be this old place that was full of these Francos, I think they were called. Anyway, I give it a solid 3 out of 4. I would have loved more of King Boris shenanigans, but that chapter was kind of brief.
Oh, just one final fucking note. Since this was during the heyday of our mafia, what our big mafia bosses would do to kind of, legitimize themselves as actual fucking warlords, because these were all people from the Soviet army, which literally had all the guns, but no army to serve it anymore, is they would just break into the burial mounds of ancient Thracian kings, which we have fucking everywhere. They would just loot the gold and wear it. So it wasn't like, an American gangster with chains. It would be like a Slavic gangster wearing a fucking crown and a golden chastity cage. Because for some reason,
it's time for another chapter of Alex Reviews. It's called The Revenge of King Boris. So the plot of this book is kind of strange. You have a bunch of post-Soviet warlords wearing like possessed jewelry from the ancient Russian kings, and King Boris shows up to like fight them and save his country. I kind of like the banter they had between Flight Commander Yurkov and King Boris. They had like this kind of tense fight off, and it ended with everyone being shirtless on top of Parliament. Again, world building is kind of spotty. They keep alluding to Georgia, which is actually a state in the US.
Oh, fuck.
I actually have a segue for this.
Oh, you do? Let's hear it.
Yeah, so I'm in next week I'm hoping to start, but it might get pushed back because everything's going to shit in my life. But I'm trying to start a Runequest game in my homebrew setting that I've been working on for years and years, so I have to like get everything in order and convert things over to Runequest. But the story of the game is basically not fantasy. Bulgaria's king gets exiled by his aristocrats, who then are like, this is now an elective principality. We summon the elector counts. We're all princes now, and the king gets kicked out. So the whole premise of the game is, and Bman, you're in this game, so now you know.
Yep.
I've alluded to this before. The premise of the game is King Boris or whatever the fuck is like, you know what? Fine, I'll make a new kingdom, blackjack and hookers. We'll do it in not the Underdark. I need an army of adventurers. Let's go underground and carve out a realm of our own.
Listen, I get that you have spider people on your side, but we have the power of Slavic democracy. We also have all of these shiny ass old post-Soviet AKs, and I don't think your Driders can deal with that.
Yeah,
What,
I mean it's not.
What era of Bulgaria do you want it to be, though, Zeem? Do you
I-
want it to be?
It's like 13th century.
In that case, fuck. In that case, unfortunately, you cannot have Mongol Bulgaria, which was the best one. It was the
Yeah,
best
well,
one.
I mean, the thing is that it's going to be an underground campaign, so having Mongols anyway would suck because then it's like mounted combat comes to a minimum.
You're
Yeah.
basically just asking swamp peasants to who all have like long spears to just stab riders to death.
Well, like
I mean-
it's actually worse because what I'm doing, because this is my homebrew setting. There's no like, it's not. It's like the Underdark. It's underworld. It's huge. There's caverns and mushroom people and stuff. But it's gonna be more like the reigning power of the underworld are dwarves, and the dwarves are like Warhammer Fantasy Chaos dwarves. They're just pure fucking evil. They're pure evil because they're like, we have to live underground where everything's shit, and there's constantly monsters trying to kill us, and like we've seen the center of the world, and it's terrible. How dare you?
I looked into the heart of the world, and it stared back and told us to get the
We
fuck out of its
actually
room.
have,
It was
like,
playing Minecraft.
We
Yeah.
have a fucked up Slavic underworld if you want some books and shit on it. It's really
yeah.
abstract and weird.
I mean, I've been asking you for tips this whole time, and now you know why. But fucking Bman is looking forward to getting his ass wrecked because the whole meta plot is that like the exiled king is like, I'm going to spend the last of my fortune to hire adventurers from all across the realms, like all the neighboring realms. And I'm just going to send wave after wave of my own mercenaries into those cave systems until we can find a spot to set up a new city or something.
Ruin has come to our venerable expedition.
Kind of like that in reverse. It's more like this is when the ancestor was being like, oh, I have all this money. I better go dig up God. Down there.
That definitely worked out well for him. God bless.
Yeah,
That's
so
what happens when you have ultra deaf Satan making a ruckus underneath your floorboards. You can't just like tap your heel and go keep it down there.
B-Man, I hope you're looking forward to how much bullshit is going to happen in that game.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting.
In the vein of Underdark Expeditions, and before we proceed, did we ever talk about Astra's game that lasted a grand total of one session?
Astra keeps like I keep trying to get Astra to come on to the podcast, and like every time he's like, I'm busy.
Yeah,
Like,
I haven't
probably has
spoken to Astra
real
in
life
days.
shit to do.
I
Yeah,
don't even know if he's alive.
He's alive. He's gotten real busy in the last few years, and like he tries to organize things, but then it always like he doesn't have a set schedule. So he'll show up and be like, I can do stuff on Wednesdays and Tuesdays.
Yeah, this was a game that was run during the time where he was like, yeah, I can probably GM a game, and we ask, how many games do you have? And he says, don't worry about it. And we ask about available times for like Fridays, and he says, I can do it between here and there. Can we push it back later? No, I have a game then. Can we do it earlier? No, I have a game then.
Yeah, he's got the addiction, but it's like it's weird because he's like, I don't know, maybe it's just because he does a lot of stuff outside of Hate and he doesn't give us that much time anymore. But like
he does have real life shit to go through. He's in that he's in a busy phase of his life.
Yeah, I know that he's like.
I just realized I haven't bullied Astra in a while, so yeah.
Well, it's because he doesn't post anymore because he's busy being a line chef or just hanging out in other Discords.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
he's a chef.
I mean, he helped me. Speaking of him, he helped me with this game because this is a funny story.
Line cook, but not. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I had to recruit. I was looking to recruit people because this game was like, not a lot of people in Hate can make it, so I needed like 3 or 4 players from outside of Hate. And of course, I had a terrible problem, and I also went on a fucking adventure that led me to discovering a terrible conspiracy theory that I could talk about if anybody wants to know.
Before we do that, though,
the gay ops GM shit.
Yeah, but what ended up
before we
happening
go
with
into
Astra,
that, though, so that I can wrap up the story, because I would just want to get into this, like, because it's in relation to the Underdark shenanigans.
Okay.
The game that he was supposed to run was there are a bunch of dudes sent into the Underdark, and you have to escape. And you had to come up with a bunch of character concepts while you're down there. And this was like the first time we went into one of the base setting. I think this was Forgotten Realms. I'm not entirely sure. But we
Underdark's
were doing
Forgotten
shit in
Realms,
like generic
Well,
realm
there's different
D&D
Underdarks.
default settings. So
There
we go.
isn't
Yeah,
just
this is the one that's full of the ultra def drow, like it is in every single D&D
Well, yeah, but
settings.
that's not unique to like Underdark.
Yeah,
setting.
yeah, I know. But this is the one where you have the matriarchy doing their chicanery, and you have to like do your stuff. I don't remember a lot of the other players because, like I said, it only lasted one session. But I did like the character idea I came up with because whenever I'm unfamiliar with a setting, I endeavor to make a peasant character, which is essentially I'm playing some yokel from a farm or equivalent somewhere who knows nothing about the world. So it's in character that he asks a lot of questions. And the idea I came up with was this old ass farmer who was conscripted into one king's army. And then by the time the campaign finished, he was immediately dragged into another one. So he spent like 40 years of his life, like his formative period, going on like campaign after campaign. So he ended up being like this fucking dude who was like, I'm fucking sick of this shit. I'm defecting from the army. I'm taking my back pay and I'm going home to the fucking farm that may or may not be there. I haven't seen my wife in 4 decades. This is bullshit. And one of the things that happened, he was doing like generic army shit. Like I said, I don't know a lot about the setting. So it ended up being that we ended up in the Underdark, and it was like, oh, the fucking Dark Elves, they've stolen everything from the party. We have to fight for our very survival. And everyone is like, we have to be on our toes there. And my dude is like, this is bullshit. They stole all of my fucking gold and silver. I would fucking stand for this. Before we get out of these goddamn titty dungeons, I'm gonna rob these fucking pale bastards for everything they've got. And I set up like a list of things I needed to do before I leave the underground. And I still remember a few of them. It was like steal a matriarch's jewelry, steal a chandelier from like a cultural center. And I wanted to run off with a bunch of exotic animals and shit before I make my way overground. Like my entire deal was basically, I'm done with this shit. I'm either gonna die or I'm gonna become the most prolific thief this society of degenerates has ever seen in their lifetime. And I was very much attracted to the whole idea of stealth being no one can see you if no one is alive to see you.
When I was like doing the concept of this game, I was more thinking of like, my favorite shit like Arx Fatalis, the Deep Road section in Dragon Age, the Underdark section in Baldur's Gate, yada yada. I wasn't really thinking Darkest Dungeon, but like, what scene?
Yeah, the fun shit.
Yeah, and then like I wasn't really thinking of Darkest Dungeon, but then like you told me about that Astra's game, and also I was reminded that like Tacos, who's also going to be playing in this campaign, is like did that RuneQuest game where it was like Darkest Dungeon, but it was dwarves trying to
it refuses to admit it's dead.
I was part of that campaign. It was fun, but it went sort of slow.
Was that the game where Otto came up with the Lanchneck elves, and then everybody stole the idea, including
no, Otto's was earlier, and I want to make it clear. I didn't steal the idea. I stole it without knowing I stole it. Because Otto must have mentioned it earlier, and then one day I Eisenhorned myself by going, I'm a fucking genius because I forgot where I got it from.
Well, I made this game, I have it as a thing just because the elves in this setting are like, well, first off, they're not really elves, but second,
they're not just elves, they're German elves.
Well, it's not that they're German, it's that they're just, in general, they don't have a land to call their own, kind of. They're more like the Scoia'tael. So, like, they, like, in the lands that are, like, not Germany, not Austria, not Hungary, they're going to be, like, mercenaries. So, of course, there's, like, the hardened elf warrior with his halberd and his fancy clothes.
You want to do some brainstorming where we can share our ideas of the land as elves, because I'm sure we can come up with some good ideas if we just steal from each other.
I mean, if you want, but I already have a lot of my concepts down. I just need to stat everything out so everybody has their guide. Just currently, what I did was it's like, what
if it's a Slavic setting, they gotta fight as May, which is like a dragon, but it hates you even more.
Oh yeah. Well, like I have I'm doing a lot of like creepy stuff, especially. What was that one you told me about? That's like the Slavic folklore where it's like because they believe that you should use a corpse as part of the foundation of houses.
Oh yeah, the TLOU. It's great.
It's
I love
fucking
it.
stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
Well,
lot of
also,
cool Slavic lore
and
that
B-Man, this is going to be slight spoilers, but because like basically what I've said is right now you can play as like not humans, not greenskins, and not elves. Dwarves are not playable because dwarves are pure evil.
Can we just add my hobbits into the setting because fuck it, those hobbits are cool.
I love those hobbit concept, but I don't want to add them. I prefer to leave them as their own thing.
They're crazy though, but yeah.
Yeah, Scene is very proud of the little world building you did.
Anything, but they're cool.
No, I ran a
about 'em.
D&D game. I ran a D&D game a while back, and it didn't go anywhere because like all my D&D games are destined to fail after like 5 sessions.
Oh, they're
But-
D&D games, so yeah.
But like Scene, I made it was like kind of like a Planescape game, but I was like free reigning it where I was like, all right, you guys get to make your character concepts like any race class combo is like 3.5 as long as it's not something that's just built to break the setting. So they're relatively restricted. But you got your character comes from an alien world and has been, planarly traveled to where the campaign's taking place. So you got to like do some of the world building for your character's backstory, and I'll work with you on it. And like everybody else just kind of half-assed it. Like somebody was like, "I'm a Goliath, but I'm from Aztec planet," and then a guy was like, "I'm from
Hang on.
campaign setting that I've already
Dude.
seen, so I don't have to work on this."
Hang on. You can't just say Aztec planet and move on as if that isn't the dopest shit I've heard in weeks.
Well, here's the thing: they didn't do any lore on it, so it was just like it's just Aztec planet.
Fuck.
That's
Like it is
blue
just
balled
like
again.
it's I'm a cleric. Like their whole shtick was they were a cleric that was like they were an evil Goliath cleric, and they had a Makawaddle, and that was like the whole justification was I'm from an evil planet of like it's Aztec planet. My gods are all evil because they were demand sacrifice constantly.
He was playing Kotal Khan.
No, that was Pascal's fiance at the time playing that. So she showed up with like female Amazon Kotal Khan,
Nice.
and then Half was playing a character. Like Half didn't really cheat, but he also like he had worked with me in my setting in like years and years ago, so he already knew all this shit, so he didn't need to do any world building for it. And everybody else did. And Scene was the one who worked the hardest, and he came up with this whole like so Scene's fucking thing was he came from Halfling planet. Where it was like it was a plane or a world that was like controlled by a lich run magocracy.
Yeah, like
And,
a
like-
link, basically.
But it was a republic, but all the representatives were liches that were part of like the magical order. But
Oh god.
all of the tall races on the planet were like considered subhuman trash. That the and the halflings were like, "We will destroy all who stand against us."
No.
And they were all wolf-riding Cossack halflings. So it was like the baddest shit ever. Like,
It wasn't that the tall races were like considered subhuman, it's that they all died to goblins.
and so like
Right.
the halflings were like, "We have to destroy the goblins," and it was just the short races fighting each other. It was like it was like the world was just kobolds, goblins, and halflings all at war, and Scene was from the halflings who were like. They were led by this like lichdom magocracy, but their mainline troops were basically halfling wolf-riding Cossacks. They were like on wolfhounds.
I'm trying to imagine like the skeleton of like a 5-year-old being a lich, just waddling around in his oversized robes,
Basically.
being like, only intellectuals can rule society.
Yeah, but then like everybody else is also the same height was the problem because the other
So-
ones are kobolds and goblins. But so the thing was that Scene was basically playing a ranger, but because like you can
No, I was playing what was it called? It was like the actual like lancer, like a cavalier.
oh, you're a knight. Yeah, you're a knight,
like
weren't
a
you?
cavalier, yeah.
Yeah, like he had a knight from Player's Handbook too.
Ranger because it was
It was weird.
yeah.
God damn it!
Good stuff.
Is that like Game
Yes.
of Thrones if everybody else was a midget
Yes.
except for Tyrion?
Yes.
Not really.
Why does it look like Rick and Morty?
Because it is.
God
You've
damn.
all been roused.
Oh, okay.
I've gnomed all of you.
Shut the
All right,
fuck up.
Oh yeah, that was the ones who were considered subhuman trash. The gnomes were considered subhuman trash.
Oh yeah,
That's
the
tall
fucking
races.
gnomes, yeah.
The gnomes are evil. They've betrayed our people for the last time.
So, while we're getting into the whole idea of like interesting cultures and the likes, allow me to do a little bit of auto masturbation. I know I've already masturbated a bit before, okay, but I'm still kind of at half mast. You mentioned Aztec world, got a little bit stiff again, so just slight bit of mutual masturbation there. I want to tell you about a race of elves I made that weren't the fucking Lenders-weary elves. The fucking... I'm losing my words right now. Give me 2 seconds there. Yeah, the Landesknecht elves. But I made another one, which was essentially... I have this setting where you have a bunch of planets that were made ages ago by someone who wanted a relatively similar... what's the word? Bunch of planets with minute differences. Some of them are single biomes, but all of them are habitable by the same species, and they're connected by a bunch of gates. And each gate connects to another world, which can connect to another world. So everything is connected by strings, like hyperlanes in a 4X game, which you see a lot nowadays. And what ended up happening was you had a bunch of these long-lived elves who were supposed to live to be like 2,500 to 3,000 years old, ended up on an ocean world that only had a few archipelagos. And by the time they got through, the gate collapsed behind them. So they were stuck isolated on this planet. And what happened was that eventually the ocean level started to rise until the only thing that was left was water and storms. And they figured, oh shit, I guess we're going to have to build some boats to survive the ultra-death tsunamis that show up on regular intervals. And by the time they reconnected the world gate, like thousands of years later, you had the Strigaveri who came through on their boats being like, I am so fucking done with the water. If any of you bitch-ass navies fuck with me, I'm going to destroy you. So every once in a while, you have these fucking ultra-death Norscan elves who show up being like, I know I'm a single boat with only like 2 cannons, and you have a whole armada, but to tell you the truth, I kind of like my odds. Because these are elves who have spent thousands of years riding out storms and fighting in desperate situations until they become the best sailors in the settings. And all they do is sell their fleets every once in a while, show up, and beat the shit out of people.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
One day, we're going to have to do a naval campaign in a tabletop, I hope you realize. Just flesh out some boat mechanics and be like, oh, fuck, we got the fucking Spanish at the left flank.
In here to demand that we use our slide rules at all times.
The problem is with like a naval campaign, a lot of it would be doing nothing.
Yeah.
Well, you can still have fun on a ship if you're creative.
I mean, that's what I usually do is when it's like a long journey, I don't do a simple time skip. I'm like, all right, everybody roll initiative. Okay, Alex, you got highest initiative. Your character has to tell the first story to pass the time.
Oh,
and then I make you ad-lib a story. And then if it was a naval campaign, I would do that and be like, all right, everybody roll initiative. All right, Scene, you got highest initiative. Ad-lib a sea shanty. And then Scene's like, fuck.
He just immediately breaks out the obscure anime intro themes. And everyone is like, what is this? What is this?
Scene's actually a classically trained singer. We didn't know. He just starts.
I am not. If you've ever heard me sing sea shanty, it's amazingly shit at how bad I am.
Here's what would happen. Okay, you have the first 20 sessions. Everything is going great. Then we die, every single one of us, because we lose the naval battle.
I'm not shy about singing either, so I will.
But after we sink, we figure, hey, this campaign is pretty good. Let's keep going, and we resurrect as Skeleton Crew, Davy Jones, the Flying Dutchman edition.
Here's the problem: like, as much as I like Master and Commander and like piracy and like high seas, fucking 16th, 17th century, fucking Pirates of the Caribbean shit. I fucking love high fantasy sea shenanigans, and I've always wanted to run like a fucking Stormrat campaign in like D&D, like a D&D Stormrat campaign, just because it's like look, this is the most lethal campaign setting we've ever designed. Everything will fucking murder you. It's like, you know how swarm monsters were fucking gay in 3rd edition? Well, how about a swarm of jellyfish? So not only are you dealing with drowning, but they just will fucking rape you. And like, you have shit like this. Like, I love everything about that, where it's just like, and then if you get attacked by Sahuagin, and you're just like, what the fuck is this? Like, there was a section in Baldur's Gate 2 where that happens, where you're like, take a boat ride back to like the mainland from this pirate island. And like, it's a totally optional section of the game that's like part of that leads to a secret level that you can miss out on, because you're heavily disincentivized to trust the man who's the captain and take the boat ride. And instead they're like, just take this portal. Don't give a fuck. Just go walk through this portal we have right here. And instead, like, the other way is you go, all right, fine, I'll trust you again, guy who betrayed me before. And like, you have to go through this whole side quest that helps him get laid so that you can steal a fucking horn, open some sea gates, and then get on this boat and leave. And then in the middle of you sailing towards the mainland, he comes up and he gives you this blade. And it's like a blade without a haft or a crossguard. And you're like, what is this? And he's like, well, it's part of the reward that wizard gave me to betray you the first time. And I just, it's not as valuable as I thought it was. I figured you guys would have more use for it as actual adventures. And you're like, oh, thanks. I guess. And then like in the middle of this, suddenly a fucking spaceship shows up. You're like, what? And it's a fucking dragon skull with air wings and everything. And it jumps out of the sky and sidles up and then docks with your ship. And a bunch of Githyanki space pirates get off and are like, give us back our silver blade. And you're like, you just look at the captain, you're like, you fucking asshole.
Not this shit again, God.
And in the middle of you fighting all of these goddamn Gith, because your ship is becalmed and everything stopped, suddenly the fucking ship starts capsizing. And like hundreds of Sahuagin, like the fucking shark people, start climbing up the side of the ship and fighting everybody. So you're stuck in this 3-way battle between, it's like your party and some pirates versus Githyanki with like spell swords. And now there's Sahuagin fucking sea raiders that are like,
delicious. This sounds incredible.
And you have to, and they sink your ship, they capsize you, and then it turns out you survive in this grotto that's like a pocket of air underwater, and like this high priestess of their shark god is like, you're part of this prophecy that's gonna save our city from this fucking race war we have going on. That's why if you don't want to help us, we'll just fucking kill you. And you're like, all right, fine, we'll help you. And you have to like pick a side in this race war, do this whole thing, deal with this whole like underwater city, solve all these crimes, and then you finally get to go to the Underdark. And then you continue on with the rest of the quest.
I can't believe this is optional content. This sounds great.
Oh, it's fucking awesome, because like what happens is that the end of it is you get a magic, like part of your reward for saving the city, whichever side you choose, they give you a magic rope. And the magic rope lets you descend into the Underdark through this pit. It's like way down beneath this grotto. And the spot you start in the Underdark, if you follow that down, is the same spot you start if you just walk through the portal, like way back away from the island. You miss the whole fucking thing.
That is fucking insane. That is.
Can you imagine if one dude in the party goes through the portal, sits down and wait, and you guys show up like fucking days later, covered in blood and scars, and you're like, holy shit, you won't believe what the fuck just happened.
Oh yeah, if that happened, it'd be fucking
shark girl is fucking amazing.
Oh yeah, the fucking greatest thing is that like that's like the second or third time in the game where it's like, you are part of this prophecy or part of this fucking political event going on with this monstrous race that normally would not tolerate humans and whatnot, and regular like adventurers from the surface. So we're gonna fucking let you get a special dispensation to do this. But the thing is that this is an old school RPG, so if you want, you can brute force your way through that and just be like, I don't give a fuck about your prophecy, and just kill everybody in the city. Like, just fight both sides and murder your way through. And then when you get to the Underdark, the same thing happens again, where like there's a fucking conspiracy and there's political intrigue going on in this local drow city, and there's a fucking dragon that's like, I will disguise you as dark elves so you can infiltrate their society and figure out how to do this thing to get some stuff back. And you can go tell her to go fuck herself, kill that dragon, then break into the city yourselves and kill everybody inside.
Amazing.
And just murder your way through the city and be like, oh, look, we killed their high priest and their mayor. like the not mayor of the city. Oh look, it's they had on them just conveniently this scroll that lets us open the gateway to the surface. Now we can leave, and you can run that game where you're just like, I'm gonna play a party of 6 paladins or 6 blackguards, and we're just gonna fight the shit out of everything.
You just game. Like someone shows up as a welcome, very traveler. Oh my god, Deus Vult Infidel.
I just really like the fucking. The insane evil dwarf follower you had, who was just like, I just want to kill shit. Yeah.
Oh no, the best part about him is he's so evil that you run in, like, the first NPCs you talk to when you end up in the Underdark, because the Underdark is part of the main story, so you have to go there if you want to continue the game. The first people you talk to that are like the first zone are a bunch of Duragar merchants, like the dark dwarves that are supposed to be like all lawful evil, like, yes. We're fucking slave-driving bastards because we live in the underworld where everything sucks and there's shitloads of evil races everywhere. But we like to do trade. They can speak common, so they'll fucking like speak common. They'll sell you stuff at a high markup and everything. And they're like the only merchants you can interact with in that whole fucking section of the game until you like get the infiltration.
They're lawful evil. They're not like.
But it's crazy. Well, like the thing, they're lawful evil because they're dwarves, because they're just like they have rules. They're not lawful evil because they're not dicks. They're lawful evil because they're like, we have rules. Korgan Bloodaxe is chaotic evil, and he's like a hill dwarf. Like he's just a dick. And he's so evil that when you show up, the Duragar will like be like, "Oh, hail, surfacer! We have where's to? Oh my God, who is that?" And Korgan will be like, "Hello, cousin! I'll fucking rape you if you look at us the wrong way." And like, just Korgan he's so fucking violent, it's ridiculous. And he's also like the second best fighter in the game. Like,
he's fucking insane.
And he's only second best because the best fighter in the game is fucking Saravok, who you don't get into the expansion set, and he was the boss of the first game. That was how much of a fucking boss lord he was. Like, he's ridiculous, and like Korgan is almost as good as him, just on pure stats and just being like just violent dwarf.
Do you have a gift of the gods? Do you have innate talent? No, just fucking mad all the time.
Yeah. He starts with grand mastery and axes. So you're just
and he has fucking both of them. He dual wields them. That's fucking insane.
Yeah, and it's like in the expansion set, there's an axe you can get in the expansion set that's completely retarded, where it's like its base trait is that it's just a +4 axe that like has a chance to bleed or something. So it's like, oh, it's good because it's +4. It goes through magical protections, but otherwise it's just lame. And then you can fucking like enchant it with a Balor's claw, like the fucking hand of a goddamn Balrog, and it makes it a +5 weapon that has a 1 in 10 chance every attack to instantly decapitate somebody, and whenever it hits them, it casts slow on them. So you're like, wait, and he gets to use that with a shield or another axe that's almost as good later on, and he will just murder everything in the game because he just attacks so many times at that level that is just like, I will kill you within the next 12 seconds.
It's just
and it's great because that fucking the punching bag elf that you get from like the elf circus. The one
Ari.
Yeah, and she's like, please stop being mean to her, and he just pummels her. You're just like, hey, I heard that last time when we were resting, you kind of put our elf in a bag and hit her against a tree until she fell crying. And he's like, can you stop? And he's like, nah.
He is fantastic. It's fantastic playing it. Like, mixed parties in that game are super inefficient because the reputation system will make it so you either have to be like evil or good, and neutral characters are skewed towards good. But like, if you have a mixed party, it's hilarious because the evil characters all banter the shit out of each other, and the good characters are just retarded. So it's like, if you have a party with like good and neutral characters,
works though. It's like, the characters are always my good and freedoms.
Well, like, you have people like Jaheira who just acts like your mom, but it's like, if you have Jaheira in the same party as Korgan, Jaheira will be like, nature has purpose, there are rules, and then Korgan will be like, "Aye, lassie, will you shut the fuck up?" and cuts down a tree in front of her every time she starts fucking like talking shit about nature's nature and the balance and everything. She's like, I'm a harper. We have to, and he just cuts another tree down mid sentence.
It just keeps happening.
God bless.
And it's just hilarious because like he and Saravok will be like Saravok will be like, watch your fucking mouth, dwarf, and then Corgan will be like, oh, look at you, you're 6'6", I'll fucking cut your ankles off. And then like you find out later they go drinking together.
Dude, one of the favorite things that can happen in any media for me is when you have like an obviously piece of shit boss who ends up becoming amiable or a party member later on in the story. It's so funny.
No. The best part about all of this that's fucking terrible is the end game of the expansion set is you have to go fight this usurper to godhood over like the throne of the Lord of like the dead god of murder, and to take his position so that like the divinity doesn't pass on to the wrong hands or whatever. And if you run an evil party with Saravok in it,
you can put him on the throne?
No, it's way worse than that. The way the initial boss fight worked is that it's like she has multiple, this boss, you have to fight her, she has multiple phases. Between each phase, she like regenerates, and you have to go fight some ads that are like the elemental princes of evil that just hang out in the realm for whatever reason. It turns out that was actually like rushed out the door, like they didn't get to finish it. And they released, like one of the dev team released as like an official unofficial mod, right? That's like the actual ending as they planned it. And the ending as they planned it is like this boss rush where you have to fight every single major boss from the entire series that has been super powered to epic level all at once.
Ridiculous.
And like in between these phases instead of just the ads, right? And then one of the things that happens is like during like the second phase, if you're not playing a good party that like you went out of the way in the character quest to turn Saravok neutral when you have him in your party, and he's still evil, they'll turn Saravok against you and give him back all of his super god powers from the first game.
Damn it, that's just shit again.
And he keeps all the gear you gave him, so if he has like the board, he will just instant kill your party leader and end the campaign.
How many times do I have to teach you this lesson, old man? I punched the godhood out of your mouth before, and I'll do it again.
Oh, it's great. Like, if you have Imoen in your party, they'll, like, turn Imoen, and she'll be like, I'm good, I won't turn. And they'll be like, oh, shut up, bitch, and force her to turn into a Slayer avatar. So then you have to fight, like, the avatar of a dead god that's, like, your half-sister. And she's just, the entire time, she's screaming in pain while just beating the shit out of you.
I really like the romance options in the original game as well, because, like, he had a dark elf, right? And immediately upon meeting her, she's just like, you can't fuck me into being good, so don't try. Don't try to fuck me with your human.
Her romance quest is so fucking annoying and complicated, but like the end result, if you're a good party, is you make her go from like lawful evil to lawful neutral by withholding sex from her.
Are you shitting me? Are you shitting
lawful neutral? Because she's like Jack from Mass Effect, where it's like if you go for the sex immediately, she's like, I won the romance over, you're a loser. But if you're like, you play hard to get, even though you're the man, she gets increasingly frustrated because she's a drow, so she's like, God damn it, I'm supposed to be the dominant one in this relationship, and you're like, I don't give a shit, bitch. Keep your hood on.
I don't care.
We're in the service world now. Get off.
Zeem, different game. You know what that reminds me of, though?
What?
What's the name of
it? Hang on, before you say it, let me interject before you continue and just say this: Farmer is too powerful for vampire seduction.
Pretty much. Scene. Russian something. What was it?
Spies, RPG, third person. Alpha Protocol.
Alpha Protocol. Yeah,
I remember that.
I mean, it's by the same people.
Where it's fucking like she's a mercenary that just loves killing, but if you hit on her, that makes her mad. But if you deny her, she's like, oh, he's playing hard to get. I'm gonna get some of that.
Yeah. Well, like with Viconia, it makes sense because she's a drow. She's a drow priestess. She's like, in my society, I'm the big dick, even though I don't have a dick.
I just like it. I like the idea of her and fucking Drist just sitting on a table. He's like, how did you shake off the evil ways of the drow? Did you have an epiphany such as myself and learn to love nature and humanity? She's just like, nah, just dick. Dick.
Dick.
The dick was too good. I had to abandon my faith in God.
Lost the dot cock.
Yeah. No, the best one is if you're a total cuck and you go with the airy romance where you're just like,
oh, no.
And then I married my childhood sweetheart because I was just a nice guy. And because the end of her romance at Throne of Ball is that she's pregnant and is like, I'm going to have your child. And then if you take the quote unquote good ending of the Throne of Ball is you take the throne and become a good god, like a good god of like justice instead of murder or something. But it leaves her behind on the mortal plane to be a single mother.
That is fucking hilarious. Are you shitting me?
And like the neutral ending is you deny the godhood and just destroy the essence and you stay an adventurer forever. And then she's just like, and then I went with him and we were an adventuring couple and raised our child on the road. And it's just like, every single version of this is you're a neglectful idiot.
I just want to see the fucking scene where some dude shows up and is like, tell me, we've been doing this divinity shit for a few thousand years now. What made you become a god in the first place? Oh, I got this one bitch pregnant and she kept harassing me. I don't want to pay child support. Yeah. So I just became a god instead.
It's just that like fucking image from Heroes Free where Sandro has to pay his child support. God, it was so funny. Like Sandro checks his fucking mail outside the necropolis and just child support is due. Death can't save you, you piece of shit.
It's even more ridiculous because like at the time, like the ending like fucking epilogue notes this is that by that time, if you win the game like that, she's an epic level cleric and an epic level mage. So it's like even that couldn't save her from being a single mother.
That's fucking mean.
Not all the power the realms can provide, and you're still left alone with this fucking goo baby.
Yeah,
there is no escape.
God, the best shit for that is like Jaheira's romance is just retarded because she's an idiot, and Jaheira's just a piece of shit. But like, it's funny because if you have any interactions with her in a neutral party, because she's technically she's neutral good, but she will like lean on the neutral side of it more. If you have Corgan or whatever in your party, he will like break into your dialogue to make fun of her at any possible fucking opportunity. And like,
good.
And like,
yes!
The main thing with her is that in the first game, she and her husband show up and are your allies, and then her husband dies off screen in the second game because they just made him a bitch and they didn't want to make him not a bitch. So they make a whole part of her character development is that she's romancing you because she's trying to get over the fact that her husband was tortured to death in a fucking wizard laboratory a week ago. Great. And like,
it's great.
And it's great because Corgan will constantly make a reference to her dead husband whenever possible. Because he's just a prick. He's one of the only chaotic evil party members. Like all the other evil party members are like lawful evil, like I'm a douche, but I have principles, or neutral evil, where it's like I'm just a mercenary. And Corgan is chaotic evil because he's just an asshole.
It's great.
Trying to hold a conversation in like a diplomatic setting, and every once in a while you just hear from the back of the hall, "Oh, the lost it. Show us the tits."
Yeah. Oh, he makes a bunch of cock jokes at her all the time, and he's like, "Oh, what you're looking at? I see you eyeing it. It's long low and it hangs to the ground. Quit eyeing me axe, you fucking bint." And like, fucking the only guy that's as evil as him is the stupid DLC, like the Beam Dog character they added. That's like Dorn Ilkon, who's like the half orc, the aggressively homosexual half orc blackguard. that like
Wait, they
tries
added
to
that too?
Possibly. Oh my
I
he
thought they
tried.
only
He's
added the
the
list for
only
vampire.
character. Like his fucking shit is hilarious. He's a blackguard, so he's like he's an evil paladin, and he's like a half orc, but he's an aggressive homosexual. And that like he will, if your main character is a man, he will try to fuck him every single time you finish like killing.
You want that big black orc?
Where he's just like, oh yeah, adrenaline through me, care name, we gotta fuck right now, and you're just like, no, and he gets more mad at you. And like, if you don't have him transferred over in your party from the first game when you start the second game, where you run into him in the second game is he's like meets you on the street in the temple district, and he's like, you see that? I remember you. You see that over there? That's the Order of the Radiant Heart, a knightly order temple. We gotta go in there and kill everybody. And you're like, what? Why? And he's like, we just gotta fucking do it. Like, he will only fucking join your party if you agree to do it.
Don't bitch out now. We gotta go.
And literally, it's just the two of you kick open the doors to this giant fucking temple building and fight every single paladin in the city.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I just fucking remembered how in the first game you get like lol, so random sorcerers, right? That was one of the other DLC characters. And in the
BioWare
second
has a
game,
bad history of those.
For some fucking
No,
reason,
this was Beamdog, not BioWare. That's why it's terrible.
Yeah. But in the second game, she straight up turns into magical Bin Laden. She's just like, well,
it's Anders all over again.
It's Anders Light, where like her whole shtick is just she's like, we have to start the mage resistance against the cowled wizards, and it's just like, woman, it's not a conspiracy. They just run a business. You understand how this works? Like,
so she's a communist guerrilla.
Yeah, and she's a communist guerrilla who runs a fucking like a terrorist cell of wild mages, and it's like, we're oppressed, and it's like, you're retarded is what you are. It's like, you and all your friends, like, have you not noticed you and all of your friends have a 5% chance every time you try to cast magic missile to fucking like open a portal to the outer planes and like the world or some shit. You like, I've seen, lady, I asked you to cast shield on yourself once and you turned into a squirrel in front of me. Do you have any idea how fucking bullshit it is to put up with you every day?
God, it was Half who described the fucking Psycho shenanigans. I don't remember if we got that on cast.
Yeah, we did get it on cast.
All right, then.
Even the fucking quest to get her.
You have to roll perils.
Like,
nigga, I just want to see in the darkness. Can I just please use my psychic flashlight? No, roll for perils. Okay. Oh, hello there, bloodthirster. How are you doing?
You have to use all your power dice to cast a cantrip. You have to use all your power dice to cast a minor psychic power that you can automatically succeed on at your psi rating.
I was tempted to start doing that because I rolled reckless as my reroll for like the fucking Jarian's game. I figured that'd be too rude.
Well, like, the thing is, though, is that like that's the post Dark Heresy 1 psychic system where it's like it's a lot like the psychic system in Dark Heresy 1 was retarded because it was like you don't use a willpower test, you use psychic dice, and if you automatically fuck up if you roll a 9 on any of these D10s you have to roll, and it's like a power dice system like old Warhammer Fantasy, so you're just like, what the fuck? And then like post like Rogue Trader and onward was like, just roll a willpower test. If you don't fail it, no psychic phenomena.
Yeah,
but fucking the other character that was like there was 3 new characters Beamdog added in the first game that were all like new classes, and then they added a 4th one in the second game that was like just there to finally fill out the ranks of, because like the second game, a problem the second game had was that it like lacked a ton of options for It lacked a bunch of options for party balance, because it was like if your main character wasn't a thief, you basically couldn't get a good thief because there was only 2 other good thieves in the whole game, and one of them would always betray you and then die and couldn't be resurrected as part of the story, and the other one was Jan Jansen, and he just is annoying to be around for a lot of people. So you had that, but then so they added like Hexat the vampire thief, and she was just completely overpowered. But the third guy they added to the game was like what was it, like Rasad the fucking Sun Soul monk or or whatever.
Oh yeah, so-and-so monk. He was great. He was fucking retarded.
It was
right?
Mark Meir, so it's just Commander Shepard being like, I am doing a shitty Arabian accent. I am from Kalimshan.
My favorite
things with
hookup
my
on
hands."
the kitchen.
Yeah, and it's just this Baldur's Gate 2 is my favorite game on the Citadel. And you're just like, fuck off.
It's great, and he was actually fucking insane too, because he could do some mad shit with his fist combos. He could fist some people to death.
Well, like I remember that because like monks they added in Baldur's Gate 2 and they were like okay, and then like once you got to throwing a ball with them, they were just flatly ridiculous.
Well,
Or,
that's
like-
how monks always were. It's like they're just kind of shit until they get to later levels, and then they're god.
Well, like, dude, like, you don't understand though, because throwing a ball structured around you have to kill these 5 major bosses before you can like get to the final boss of it, right? And it's like that's the main quest for the expansion pack. And the first of it's like part of the five major ball spawn that are like in a Illuminati conspiracy to take over the world. And the first one is like this thief that shows up as soon as the game starts, and you have to fight her and her fucking like ambush gang. And you're like, okay. It was like an epic level thief with a whole bunch of other dudes helping her and wolves and shit. All right, that's whatever. And then you have to go kill the one called Yagashura, and he's a fucking fire giant that's like half god. So you're like, okay, this is going to be a problem. And then after him, you have to fight one that's like a drow priestess. That's a drow priestess that like just has like she can make clones of herself, and you have to fight her 7 times in her boss fight. And like it's just a fucking shit show. And then the second to last one is a ball spawn that's a fucking dragon.
Oh god.
And you're like, what? And it's like he like, and you don't know he's a dragon because when he fights you at first, he fights you in human form with a giant fuck off greatsword that gives you negative levels. And you're like, okay, this is a fucking problem. And then when you kill him, he's like, you see my true power. And he turns into a fucking giant dragon. You're like, okay, god damn it. So what is the last one going to be? What the fuck could this last dude possibly be that's going to take them all over? And it's revealed that this ally character, that was like helping you out this whole time, is actually the 5th one, and he's like kind of the secret good guy of the group, and was like just playing along with their plans. And he's a fucking monk. He's just an epic level monk, and he has some other monks with him, and that's his whole boss fight. You're like, okay, this will be easy. And then he immediately punches your main character across the room. Instantly kills your mage with quivering palm, and then like roundhouse kicks Saravok through a fucking roof. It just suddenly the game, like his boss fight just suddenly becomes Kung Fu Hustle. And you're like, what the fuck is this?
That's just how it be with monks, though.
Why is there coke in my nose?
Why is there cock?
Remember how it was like a fucking plot point of a game where some wizard, like a completely random wizard, parked some kind of spaceship in the middle of a poor district, and you just kind of took it over.
The planar sphere. You have to take it over, and like you go in, you can't get out. You have to go fight the wizard man at the end of it. And when you do, he leaves the plane. So you walk back. You're like, all right, we'll just go back outside. Fuck this shit. I don't give a shit. And you go back outside and you're in hell. You're like, wait a second. The slums were bad, but this is way worse than I remember.
You know when we talked with Greg about the idea of running a game where you're just IRS agents trying to fuck over the vampires because they haven't paid their taxes for like 1,000 years? Can you do a game where you... Oh, it was you, Cobra. I'm sorry. Everyone keeps stealing ideas. I don't even know who's stealing from who anymore.
I don't even know who's who anymore.
Can you imagine an idea where you have a wizard who like shows up in a city and he plans like the portal to his personal sphere, and you go in there with your crack team of like arbitrators, like fucking heavily armed paladins who don't give a shit. You fight your way through all the elite spawn, you get to the wizard and he's like, so have you come to defeat me? And you walk up to him and you hand him a ticket and you're like, sir, you're parked illegally. We're going to have to ask you to pay this fine by tomorrow or else we're going to have to see you in court. And then you leave.
That is great shit.
He just looks dejected. He walks out. He looks at his planar sphere and there's a fucking like boot on it. How did you even get that on there? I don't even have wheels.
All lawful.
He's like, I'm just gonna, he's like, all right, now that they're gone, he turns back around to his control console, starts pulling some levers, and then he's like, I'll just phase shift out of it. Why am I not going anywhere? What's going on? And he goes down, he has to look, he's like, come the fuck on! It's like a regular boot. It's just around the whole thing. It's got like the hazard stripes on it. There's like a wizard next to it that just slaps it, and he's like, Dimensional Anchor, Force 9000. And then just like snaps his fingers and walks off.
The fucking idea of being like the king of Party Town, you've killed like every single opponent in the world, and you think you're in like this grimdark fantasy, and you show up in this one rinky-dink village where literally every single person is like 10 magnitudes of power higher than you, and the baker, who's like at the bottom of the power level, is like, yeah, I was a god once, but
shit sucks. I want to bake bread.
yeah, you know, I just one day I woke up and I wanted to make bread, and now I'm here.
I mean, that was like a house rule in one of my old GM's games, was that it's like, do not start shit in like any tavern that serves adventurers, the tavern master is always a retired like epic level adventurer.
Yeah.
Very often with a gnomish chain gun.
Or his wife is.
Yeah. his half orc wife that comes out with a frying pan and like solos your entire party.
Is that worse or better? It's the halfling. But it was a paladin.
No, God!
I am once again reminded, and I have the image in my head of Karl Franz in a bathrobe. Just
yeah. Well, like that's actually a thing in Baldur's Gate 2 as well. Is that actually both of those things are happening because you do get the planar sphere booted, and there's also that halfling wife. So. God, this whole cast just turned into us like talking shit about D&D and whatever.
I guess so.
The halfling wife. It's a character that you have to find her imprisoned in like the Shadow Temple, and it's her name is Mazzy, and she's a halfling fighter, and she's like, I want to be a knight, but I'm a halfling, and the whole thing is that it's in 2nd edition D&D rules where like only humans could be paladins, right? So she's stuck as a fighter. But because she's just so valiant and so lawful good, the halfling goddess of protection gave her all of the same shit that a fucking paladin has. But she's still a fighter, so she has 5 fucking skill in short swords and bows.
No.
So she's just fucking like epic level fighter, just trashes shit, but also can lay on hands. And
that
like if you take like the edgelord like Valagar, like if the two of them hang out in your party enough, like she like makes Valagar her squire, and Valagar's like, I'm okay with this. And like they just become the fighting duo, and it's just large black man who dual wields katanas and tiny halfling chick who is like the champion of the halfling goddess of like love and protection.
I'm once again reminded of like random TG stuff where people make up all these NPCs. But finish your train of thought before we get into that.
Well, the other thing is that, so in Baldur's Gate 2, this was like one of the first RPGs to introduce, like, you know, other than Daggerfall, obviously, but it introduced the idea of strongholds, which like a lot of people followed that pattern afterward, even though Daggerfall was like really the king of that. And it was that based on your main character's class, certain side quests in the game would give you access to what they called a stronghold that was basically like a source of income, a place to stay, and a place to keep your stuff in the game world. Kind of, sort of. A lot of the containers would reset anyway. But you did that, and the stronghold for mages, if your main character was a mage, was the planar sphere. So if you finish the planar sphere quest, what happens is like at the end you like try to redeem the evil wizard man, and you shut down the planar sphere, and it's like its final resting place is back at the same spot in the slums where it was parked. It's still phased into a bunch of like peasants' houses. It's still just stuck there. It can't planar shift anymore. But like the sphere itself is still filled with all kinds of like magical laboratories and everything. So the fucking cowled wizards who are like the wizard cops show up and say, "All right, we're taking possession of the sphere. You can't be doing this. This is illegal."
Sir, due to multiple complaints, I'm impounding your interdimensional.
They impound your planar sphere, and you got to talk to the fucking government, and the government's like, "All right, fine, we'll give it back to you because you're responsible." we're gonna make you responsible for it now. Here's a fucking deed of land ownership. And this cowled wizard like teleports in and is like, I see you're an idiot. Well, I guess if this is your sphere and you're the local mage, then we will give you special dispensation to run a fucking wizard school out of this sphere. And like the whole Stronghold quest line is you being like the headmaster of like bootleg wizard school, where you're essentially like it's just like this basically like an after school program where you make them make you magical items, and if you you can make them like make the most weenie shit and they'll not get any XP, but if you make them make like this really strong shit, like you can make them try to make like actual like D&D lesser artifacts. And like they'll fucking die in the process of making it. Like all of your apprentices died to make this Rod of Lordly Might, but now you have a Rod of Lordly Might.
Nice.
And so you're just like, all right, whatever. But they all survive, you get to do this graduation ceremony, and like you get like there's this joke scene where they like hire a fat dude to speak at the valedictorian speech, and he's just like, 7 years ago when I first started in the Caldwell College, I was still a fat piece of shit. And it's just some guy you've never seen before giving a speech to your class, and them all congratulating you for being this excellent professor if they all survived or whatever. And then after that, you get called back again by the Cowled Wizards, and you're like, all right, are you taking the boot off now? Can I have my house back? And the dude's like, I didn't call you here. You called me here. What the fuck's going on? And then a bunch of like wizard-hating paladins show up out of the shadows that have broken into your house somehow and are like, get him! And you realize, like, and then like the rest of the quest line is, okay, well, one of your apprentices came back and will make you potions every week. You can stay here. This is your house now, whatever. But before that happens, you need to help us put down this fucking anti-mage terrorist cell of Luddites. Like the Luddite terrorist cell that is fucking attacking you.
The Luddic Path flashbacks.
Yeah.
No, not again.
The thing is like you have 3 ways of doing this. You can talk him out of it by like saying that the fucking police will get him. Like you can like go up to it, you can find the strong man and be like, the Council of 6 will fuck you up if you come at me again.
Understand that crime is illegal. Oh my god!
And the fucking and it's like you can just kill them, or you go with the Cowled Wizard guy's instructions, and he's just like, "Here's what the Cowled Wizards do: take this scroll and cast it on him mid conversation." And like it's a scroll of imprisonment, so you just sentence him to fucking be in suspended animation at the center of the earth for 1,000 fucking years. Like this is for attacking the wizard police. You're going to jail.
Police brutality. Come on, man. You can't just throw people to the center of the earth. That's archaic.
Oh, it's great because in the Underdark, there's an entire fucking section about throwing people to the center of the earth. Where like, there's a section where if you just pay attention to NPCs talking and buy a scroll of freedom, you can just cast it in this one section, and it'll summon a wizard who's been like, I've been trapped in the center of the earth for 30 years. Thank you for saving me. Come, I need adventurers to help me fucking raid treasure out of the elemental plane of air. There's a portal right here. Let's go do it. And it's a whole other quest line of like trying to cajole this man into fucking like giving you money from like.
Amazing.
I love Baldur's Gate 2. It's fucking it's got so much fucking extra content on the side that nobody knows about. Or everybody knows about because it's been 30 years, but like still.
That is ridiculous shit.
I just fucking love this idea of this fucking lunatic being dragged out of prison. Like, oh my god, you won't believe what happened.
I've been working on this for 50 years. Working to hit the elemental plane of air.
Listen, there's not much time. I know a place where you can get like 2.5 million gold, but I'm gonna need a pay-in of about 30,000. Are you in?
Yeah,
dude, you've just been in prison for like 30 years. Do you want to take a breath? There's no time.
Like that's what happens because it's literally like you ask him, it's like, so how'd you get in prison? And he'll just be like, I pissed off a lich. And you're like, okay, why did you piss off a lich? And he's like, well, turns out this lich was the guy that's behind those elemental portals. And it's like, but until you imprison this guy, there's just these 3 ominous purple glowing gateways in the rock in these like little caverns off to the side of the main path that just spew endless fucking fire, earth, and air elementals respectively. And you're like, what does this even do? What are these even here for? I don't even know why. There's just a breach in the fucking plane of existence down in the Underdark because it wasn't fucking dangerous enough. Now we need like extra dimensional elemental creatures attacking us. The fucking aliens and beholders and shit.
the Lich just wanted to fuck with the Beholders and the Drow, so he's like, let's just open the elemental plane of fire here.
Yeah, so like you find out that this dude's whole thing was like, I came down here with a party of adventurers to go like rob the elemental planes because I think there's treasure hidden in those portals. There's gold in them hills.
Go
like,
into the Underdark, notice they have a humidifier, pour 2 gallons of elemental bullshit into them, leave.
Yeah, no, it's even better because you get to run into the Lich later and find out that he fell into his own trap. Because like there's another section northern of you where there's like this giant fucking weird structure with all these faces on it that are screaming. And like if your character's high enough intelligence when they go up to it, you can activate it. And it turns out that it's a giant soul gem matrix that's a bunch of trapped people that the Drow put there to fucking ward people off from this fucking like path, this trade route basically. And like it's like 5 of them you can activate, and like 3 of them are like random adventurer parties that'll be like, oh, thank you for saving me. Here's all the clothes on my back. I'm gonna run off to the surface now, and they just run off in the Underdark alone. You're like, what the fuck?
Well,
there's one guy that comes out and is crazy and only speaks in fucking Arabic because he's from Kalimshan, and attacks you with a fucking like bastard sword that has bleed damage, and it's kind of cool if you get it from him. So you're like, okay, he's just nuts. And then the last one is the Lich, who fucking originally imprisoned everybody there, and he's like, I was imprisoned by the Drow, but you're dumb enough to free me. And then like casts 15 protection spells on himself at once.
Jesus Christ.
Like the thing about Baldur's Gate 2 was that game was so caster happy that every caster in the game, even ones that shouldn't have been high enough level to have access to it yet, had contingency. Had like multiple contingency and spell sequencers ready that had all of their protection spells set up. And like all of them were like, have you ever seen that like from the Overlord anime, I guess? Like that one that's where it's just the Lich that he's like sitting there casting protection spells on himself for 5 minutes. Every single like that in Baldur's Gate 2.
Yeah. Just fucking these generic protection spells, being like, I have to beat the shit out of these vampires. Give me like 15 minutes.
Yeah, except like he has all of it cast instantly, so then the first thing he does is cast Time Stop. And then you have to sit there and watch as he's like, all right, time stop, gate, and he pulls a pit fiend out of the fucking out of like the abyss, like out of hell to fight you. And then he's like, meteor swarm, and I guess skull trap or some shit. I don't know.
the idea that he's just standing there being like reciting a shopping list at you while you can't do anything. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Fucking terrible.
All right, let's move on to another topic that arouses the depths of my Nordic curiosity. Bman, have you been writing?
Yes. Oh, yes. I've. Thing is, it's just like a little fucking exercise I'm doing for myself.
Don't be a shy little faggot. Go on, tell us about it.
Basically, what it is, yeah, pretty much. Basically, what it is I'm sort of like challenging myself to try and write like a script for a video. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to rank all of the Halo levels, like in my own personal opinion. I'm trying to write a script for that, and I'm not that far. Basically, I'm
15.
There is no number 15. I'm just starting with Halo 1 for now. Fuck. Let me see which one that is. I gotta open that shit up again.
B-Man, what's the best level and what's the worst level, and why is it 343 Guilty Spoiler? Actually, no, I misspoke. What is the worst level in your opinion, B-Man, and why is it the library?
Yeah, no. Everyone knows that's going to be here. I mean, it's absolutely the library as the worst level in Halo 1 for fucking obvious reasons. And the number 1 that I have ranked is the Silent Cartographer.
Oh, Silent Cartographer is pretty good, yeah.
It is. Like, my top 3 are the Truth and Reconciliation, Halo, and the Silent Cartographer.
In no particular order?
No, that was the 3. Number 3, number 2, number 1.
Oh, okay.
Number 15.
Number 15.
Foot lettuce. The last thing you want to see in your lettuce is a foot.
No, not again.
Look, you have to remember. You have to remember to tell people that space zombies with rocket launchers is no basis for a system of gameplay. Okay.
Actually, yes, I have that section in here. Let's see, where was it? Yes. yeah, there are two things that'll make things challenging. The first is the carrier forms, and then the second element is combat forms with rocket launchers. Frankly, screw these guys. They can go burn in hell, and that's all I say about it. Fuck them.
Very concise. You could just do the thing where it's like, number 3, rocket zombies, and slowly the audio distortion comes in. You get like garbled speech, like the camera slowly zooms in on your face as you get the 1,000-yard stare. And then at the end of it, you just hear this like screeching noise leading into BFG division, and then it just cuts off, and it's like, number 2!
Beautiful.
Yep.
Yes, that's where I'm at. Fucking, I've written up to number 8 so far. Number 8 is keys.
Of course.
Yeah, I got that one rated pretty low. A lot of people like Assault on the Control Room, apparently.
I mean, Assault on the Control Room is a fun level, even if it's like that's the first level in that game that's just unbelievably fucking long.
Oh yeah, like that's the reason I got it rated down at number 7, just because holy fuck does it.
Like every other level in that game is like 30 minutes, and then Assault in the Control Room is like 2 hours.
Yep. And that's also why I got fucking 2 Betrayals rated at number 9, because Jesus fuck, it's so fucking long, and then it just goes back all through the other shit that we did already.
I'll give you a terrible. I have to tell you something terrible, Bman. 2 Betrayals is my favorite level in Halo 1.
Oh fucking Christ! Why?
I just love all of the fight. I love all the sections where the Flood, the Sentinels, and the Covenant are all having a brawl, and then you just walk in, and all of them are like, "Oh God damn it, not this guy!"
You know, funny thing, I actually mentioned that. I'm like, where was it? Some people rate this level quite highly due to the fact it's the first time you get to see the 4-sided war between humanity, Covenant, Flood, and Sentinels. I'm not one of those people. I can't fucking stand this.
Yeah, that's because you suck, B-Man.
Well,
I'll give you all the footage from our playthrough if you want.
Are you guys ready for another content alert?
Let's hear it.
Fucking top of the line news.
Shoot your content load.
All right, this one goes for 200 points. Ring your buzzers when you have an answer. In 2020, which game was banned in Egypt due to degeneracy?
The Last of Us 2.
Ding, 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 ding. Yes.
Yep.
Correct.
And they are correct to do so.
There is literally a channel on FJ now called Neil Cockman, and it's one of the most active things on the entire website.
Of course it is.
That's amazing. The amount of memes that have come out because of that, this stupid fucking game is ridiculous.
I was absolutely amazed. Like 3 days after the leak or something, some people assembled enough frames of like the meme where one dude is grabbing the other dude's shoulder, like individual frames from each and every single meme to reproduce the entire sex scene, all of it, the entire fucking thing. Oh,
I honestly feel like
it doesn't matter if it's Reddit, 4chan, or the bunkers. Like, artists
everyone hates
come back to life to shit on this game.
Well, like, it's because, like, it says this perfect storm because it's, like, among, like, the underground, quote-unquote. It's, like, just, like, you know, channers and everything. A lot of people didn't like The Last of Us 1 because it was just movie game, and it was, like, one of the beginning of the end movie games. And on top of that, like a thing that we don't discuss, that a thing that like Braindead, this was ancient, like on an old shit cast we did, but a thing that like Braindead Tuba and Romularius discovered is The Last of Us 1 was completely broken by, like, it had no challenge at all if you knew how to melee, because the melee in the game was completely busted, and you could just pick up a 2x4 or use your fists and punch every enemy in the game out, and it just would stun lock everything.
Just like the devs intended.
This is what Braindead Tuba called Joel Mayweather, and like this phenomenon was what that was what he named the phenomenon. And then like The Last of Us 2, it's like it's this perfect storm where like you have all these normies that adored the first game to no end and were like disappointed with it, and all these and everybody else that's like already hated the first game and is now like, look at how much shittier they made it.
Vindication.
Yep.
Honey, you got a big storm a-coming.
Like, the thing that I still can't believe is the fact that he, like, put himself into the game and then, like, put himself on a trading card in the game as an Easter egg.
God damn, the level
and
of
then, like, made his
smugness.
Twitter profile.
I'm just astounded by how fucking up his own ass this person is. My goodness gracious.
It's amazing.
It is quite fucking amazing.
I am baffled by his doctrine, just in awe. Somehow this retard went through like the grand melee of video game development. Like he didn't even know where he was. He was looking at his smartphone, being a bit awkward. People were dying left and right, and he bumbled his way into becoming grand champion of Fucktown, just making this fucking massive piece of garbage somehow. And he looks up from his phone and he's like, "Fun is not a word we like to use." Jesus Christ.
Fucking beautiful.
Alex, I have to say that every time you mention somebody's doctrine, I imagine us sitting at a round table and everybody getting a camera put on their face whenever they're the main speaker. And then whenever you're the main speaker and you talk about the doctrine, the camera slowly zooms in as your eyes fly further and further apart as you continue discussing.
Like every single time I'm done speaking, you should add a sound effect of someone tearing a page out of a typewriter and just briefly flash the fucking monkey meme.
Well, no, it's not even that. Like it's better. It's like you start. It's like normal human eye spacing, and then you're like Ed, and you're Ed, and then it like goes beyond that. You're an Ilthorian from fucking like Star Wars.
Yes,
Cobra,
Zeem.
you want to tell us about your CBT fetish in relation to Western society and elves?
Oh
wow.
yeah, I was talking to someone about this. How, if you think about it, how much of Western society and culture is based on the concepts of cock and ball torture?
Excuse me?
I mean, consider it. The founding myth of Western civilization, as we know it, is cock and ball torture by the Son of God. Is it not?
What?
Is it not?
Excuse me?
Is it not?
He's causing Alex to fucking blue screen.
Yeah, you can hear the fucking modem dial-up noises in the background here while I'm trying to process what the fuck you just said. What the fuck are you talking about?
As we know, the crucifixion was just an elaborate CBT setup.
Like, listen, you're a Roman. You fuck horses. You fuck femboys. You do all this shit. You think that when you get someone on that cross, you aren't gonna cock and ball torture them? Because you know they did. You know they did. There's no way if we look at the facts.
Like, you go back in time to put yourself on the crown on the hill, and Jesus is like, "I do this for my fellow man," and you can just see the centurion waving his hand going, "Bring in the scrotum tickler," and Jesus, like, a single bead of sweat goes down the side of his brow. He's like, actually, when I think about it, you Jews are all right. Can we talk about this?
Oh my God. Just pissed off all the persons in the audience.
That's great.
They can't take a
Fucking
joke. They wouldn't make it.
Actual blasphemy.
Look, if they kill the Son of God, the least they should be able to do is like laugh a bit at my jokes, okay?
That's fair.
You can't say that, Alex.
You can't say that on television. Demonetized. Take his job from him.
No, you don't understand. You're making fun of Christians. You're not going to get demonetized.
I literally said Jews, though.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, you get demonetized.
Yeah,
Sorry.
You're fucked, boy.
Your credit score is going to be attacked directly.
Tomorrow
Not
we will watch
only-
a report about a random shack out in the outskirts of Oslo got hit by an errant Israeli cruise missile.
Not only demonetized, but demonized as well. I get canonized as Baphomet's lost son.
And then Doom Guy punches you in the nuts, thus completing the cycle of cock and ball torture.
I just fucking imagine Israel's Twitter, like their official embassy Twitter, posting another image of just Israel's borders, but this time they've expanded again to cover all of Norway. Like, no comment. They just cover that as well.
What did this have to do with elves, though, Cobra? I have to know.
Oh no, I just beat my meat to elf scene. I just beat my elf my meat to elves, and I want
You
people to
beat your
know.
elf.
He
I
has
beat
a
my
horrible
elf to meat.
degenerate fetish. She likes the dagger ears.
Disgusting.
No, you don't understand. You don't understand. You remember that old TG Fred, the one that was like how many spiders can hide within a female drone's vagina?
Oh no.
That was me. That was me. That was me asking.
I'm trying. After all of our tests, we have concluded that not a significant number of spiders can be pushed inside of a drow's vagina and/or cervix to be considered a spider swarm. Also, fuck you for making us do this.
I am entirely disgusted.
No, listen, it's okay if it's an elf. It's
No.
okay if it's an elf.
It's doubly not okay if it's an elf.
But
This is the opposite of okay.
listen, it may just seem as if I've hijacked this discussion just to talk about my draw fetish, but let me assure you, the truth is actually far, far worse.
You don't even want to fuck the Drider. You don't even
Because-
want to fuck the Drider. You just want to fuck like the basic bitch black elf.
No, listen, Scene. I'm here to talk to you about my favorite. My throat just got a little tighter.
It's God trying to silence you before you finish that sentence.
That actually happened once, Norg. Once I tried to write a sci-fi novel, and I got attacked and stung by wasps, and they wouldn't leave me alone for 3 days until I forgot about it and stopped trying to. I think it was God trying to prevent me from writing.
That sounds about right.
It was terrible. It was the worst time of my life. But anyway, as I was saying before I mysteriously choked, I'm here to talk to you about my favorite webcomic, Drow Tales. Have
What?
you read Drow Tales, friend?
No.
I have never heard of Drow Tales.
Oh,
We're not
God.
going down this road, Cobra.
You don't want to hear
Cobra, you
about
can't
the
take us down this
webcomic,
road, please, God.
the webcomic that ran for 18 years of
Oh my
continuous
God! Please
Drow
don't do this.
footage.
To the, I don't want you to.
I don't
I'm
care.
gonna watch Alex and Bman lose their innocence in real time.
My innocence?
I know
Fine.
about Drow Tales. It's fucking awful.
Look,
I know.
if you try to gauge my morality, you're gonna bring out the scientific instruments you borrowed from the Scientologist, and you're gonna open the door to my room. There's gonna be a black void staring back at you while I'm hanging around with HR Geiger.
It's great because when I was like, I think 11 or 12, I don't even fucking remember. I opened up my browser. We were all using Mozilla Firefox back then, right? And I wrote in cool webcomic, pop webcomic, and Google was like, yeah, why don't you read this comic about Drow? What could go wrong? And I opened it up and I read like,
Before you continue, I just want to preface. That's the best opening to like a modern horror I've ever heard. I opened my computer and Mozilla Firefox was staring back at me.
yeah,
What
see,
the fuck is what?
that's the other thing. They're Drow, okay?
Halfway through their run, they just started a sci-fi comic.
Yeah.
Characters.
Look, their titties are trying to escape.
I remember
know.
that. Not my proudest wink.
This aroused
It's not
me.
even porn. Yeah, it's just not even deep porn.
No, fuck you. This arouses me. You don't get the
Well, I'm
shift out
sorry,
my
you're
Drow
retarded.
fetish. Fuck you.
Look, Cobra comes from like the closest equivalent to the Underdark we have. They basically live in Drow society already. You can't kink shame him like this scene.
I can and I will.
Like,
But
just the thing that kills me about it is that it started off and it was just Forgotten Realms, Dark Elves, the Drow, and then halfway through the comics run, they just took the exact same characters and put them in a sci-fi setting.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
like,
that's the
Cobra,
fucking
this is the
thing.
equivalent of like people jerking off to like people getting transformed into Ona holes. You're just like sick and disgusting.
I
No,
hate you.
listen,
I know.
listen, Scene. I'm covered in slime right now. I'm covered in grease like 24/7.
This
You
is-
cannot judge me.
This is like
I
the
can, I
parent
will.
generation. Like this was the fat bait of the parent generation to like Critical Role.
It
Okay,
literally
I just
was.
want you to know I don't know why this happened, but for some reason, the bottom character in that panel's voice sounds exactly like Mr. Plinkett doing his Star Wars reviews.
Keep her arms straight. I hate you. I know.
That's a great impression. Thank you for that.
Have their fucking hairstyles. They got like fucking professional hair salonists in the Underdark.
But listen. Let me give you a synopsis of this wonderful fucking story. You have our main character, right? And I forgot her name, but she's a drow, and she's fucking retarded.
She's talking. She doesn't have a name.
No, listen. She's got like 45 IQ. She's not even lawful good. She's just that fucking stupid. God bless her. It's a miracle she survives. It's like all the protective power of some universal force of good just poured into this retarded sub 20 IQ drow child. So she just walks around completely ambivalent to everything around her. She's like, well, what are those? Those are rape pits. You like him? That's okay. That's okay. What are those? Those are the cock and bull torture racks. You like those? I don't know. And like, halfway through,
the
they're
point
like,
where
oh
she
yeah.
like puts her cock and then just walks away.
Yeah. She just doesn't give a shit. And the best fucking part is, like, one part of a comic, there's like 10 people conspiring to kill her, like in direct eyesight of her, and she's just staring there, just like twitching her eyes, like blinking them unevenly. And they stab her to death and throw her like in a big hole. They just beat the shit out of her and throw her in a well.
Jesus Christ.
One day later, she just rises out and she's like, grr, grr. It's like that fucking Junji Ito comic where, people are coming out the other side of a mountain. It's fucking great. And she doesn't grow or change her character for the entire fucking comic. And
No,
it's great.
it's fucking jerk off bait, and it's supposed to be like, oh, my revenge quest, but here's like 10 pages of her getting dicked hard.
Yeah.
No. The best fucking part is, listen.
Let's break up the webcomics continuity every few chapters with an entire chapter that is literally hardcore pornography of the same characters.
Look, the worst kind of comic is where you put it away after you're done masturbating. The best kind of porn is where you put your dick away to keep reading.
No.
Yes.
No. I disagree with you, because I know a comic that's like that, and I don't fucking like it.
Is it
I don't
Ogloff?
fucking like it. Huh?
Is it Ogloff?
Nobody jerks off Ogloff.
Oh, I
Ogloff
beg
is
to
just
differ, motherfucker.
They do.
Shut up, Alex. You're a fucking degenerate
Alex.
anyway.
Alex, that is disgusting even by my standards.
Look,
I have to make a statement.
Look, if you don't get your rocks off to the idea of spiders sucking you off in your sleep, then you got a problem.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Half of hate is Australian. I am not alone in this. Somebody
You just
get Boogie and his wife.
You just
in here.
insulted every non-Australian and every Australian. In
All right.
I read this bullshit as a cop.
Cobra, the Google Images journey you have forced me to go on has now made me see the worst picture I will ever look at.
What is it?
Let's see this.
Show me.
Oh, Jesus.
Who the
Well,
fuck makes this shit?
Well, you know what's going on the title card.
Is that
That's going on
huge?
television.
Is she leaning on a robot with huge titties? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
I put in drow tail with a space, and I got Tales of Androgyny. It's just
Oh no!
Oh no!
A woman. God bless.
Oh
God
no!
fucking damn it! Not this shit again. But anyway, I just gotta tell you, okay?
You also jerk off to that, Cobra?
No, that's fucking disgusting. There's one limit. I don't beat my meat to twink scene because twinks have no right. I fucking hate them. They're a free convention. If I skip twink, I will fold him with my bare fucking hands.
Like that ancestral rage towards the Scythians.
Yes, literally that. Literally that. Like, imagine I'm just balls deep in spider pussy and this fucking drink comes along. Get out of here.
And shoots you with an arrow and rides away on a horse.
I just love the idea of fucking Cobra hanging out in a bar and some fucking twink slut from Russia shows up and he's like, listen, if you don't have the right to vote, then I want nothing to do with you. And he just leaves. He just walks right out. He's a man of principle, of commitment, and sheer fucking will.
Sheer fucking will. Fucking Peter Stormare is the best thing Sweden ever did.
I fucking love that, man.
I also love that D&D's trying to go like monster diversity. Monsters aren't monsters when everyone in D&D is hilariously racist all the time.
Oh no, the best thing is that they tried to do that after 4th edition, where in 4th edition they made the gnomes monsters again and made them unplayable, but they made Dragonborn and Tieflings a mainline race.
I'm so fucking sick of tieflings. I'm so goddamn tired of tieflings.
Did someone write an actual fucking book about this? Did someone write a book about
Cobra? More than half of all the literature you will find about D&D Dark Elves is just an excuse to have like BDSM bullshit and sex to cover.
I mean, that's literally why they exist.
We educated Boogie on this last week when we were explaining who Ed Greenwood was and how his fucking PSR contract worked. Like,
that man is a legend. Oh, I wish I had terms like that. Just the sheer fuckitude you could have if you
just
imagine if
meme
George
your way to being the lead writer to a setting you had next to nothing to really do with, and then have that setting become super popular later on when it's taken over by a large corporation. Alex, that's how you do that.
No, I just want the idea, like, if I could go back in time and make any person be able to do this, I would have given those powers to George Lucas for no other reason than to see him fuck around and being like, oh guys, are you ready? It's time for episode 8 of Star Wars. And George Lucas shows up, yeah, actually, thanks to a clause in our agreement, I'll also be making Star Wars episode 2.5. And he just upsets the entire fucking canon for no reason, just to make more stupid alien races and plot lines.
The best thing would be if they gave it back to him and they were like, you could do the next 3 Star Wars episodes. And he's like, yeah, sure. And like, he does like episode like 10, 11, and 12. And like he pulls a BattleTech where episode 7, 8, and 9 are in-universe propaganda films.
Yeah, with the Clan Jade Falcon fucking shit in the cartoon.
Clan Jade Falcon anime. Saturday morning anime.
We may all be dying of the plague. Shit's on fire. There's riots everywhere, but our ancestors can never say they were alive to witness the redemption arc of George Lucas as he single-handedly wrestles the mouse for creative control. It's gonna happen.
No,
this is on my apocalypse bingo card.
This is a thing I could actually see him doing. He does episode 0, -1, and -2. Like, just hokey fucking shit you can imagine. Really, he's just like,
where he's going back and
for the prequels. Like, it's episode 0, and everyone's just like, what the fuck are you saying? And then like what actually happens is that it's the Old Republic, and like like episode like 7, 8, and 9 are just terrible dreams of the future the Jedi Council has. And they're like, prophecy is strange. Like,
can you imagine how fucking funny it would be if he turns Darth Nihilus into comedic relief? Just this bumbling retard who walks around like, whoops, ate another planet.
I'm hungry. Could you go get me some food?
Like,
oops, planet.
A 2-episode arc where people have to prevent Darth Nihilus from going on a drunken binge and eating Coruscant.
He read the new trilogy and the Old Republic MMO at the same time.
You know what'd be fucking the best though? If he just reboots shit, leaving off from that really retarded fucking alternate timeline comic he did where Darth Vader survives and becomes White Vader. Do you remember that? I want White Vader to become a thing.
And fucking doesn't like fucking everyone change like to good from evil and evil to good. So it's like fucking Luke goes evil and it's just a whole bunch of dumb shit.
No, it is so fucking awful. Like Palpatine does the resurrection shtick again, but instead of being like a evil old nasty man. He returns as like a fucking glam rocker. Like he turns into a fucking Elvis Presley.
Star killer.
Yeah. He just has this slick fucking hair though.
They
He
get
looks
the
like a
actor to
JoJo
play him
character.
again. They retcon both the Force Unleashed games for it.
It's fucking great.
It's just
And-
George Lucas sitting there like, no, you see, this was like it's like poetry, like it rhymes. I was always going to make this franchise great again. Just sitting here like, what the fuck is going on?
They keep retconning fucking do like oh no he totally died, but he like cloned himself, and that's like why didn't he clone
fucking
himself
part
out
is
again? Why isn't
he
he
comes
just like
back-
Senator Palpatine? Why
when
is he
he
like
comes-
decrepit corpse Palpatine then?
Yeah, but like when he comes back, he goes to fucking Luke and he's like, yo, I'm back and I look like David Bowie now, so you want to become evil? And Luke, who like is literally the epitome of lawful good and shit, or chaotic good, whatever, he's a good guy. He's just like, oh, okay, I guess I'm evil now. And he starts wearing like a retard fucking gimp suit, like he's Dark Gimp.
No, you just let him reboot the fucking the sequel trilogy. Like you just let him reboot episodes 7 through 9, and like everybody changes except like Luke's back but he's happy and cheery, and it's just Mark Hamill having a great time. And the only actor from the sequel trilogy that was like one of the new ones that they kept is fucking Kylo Ren's actor.
Yeah,
Oh,
Kylo.
no.
And just make him the reincarnation of Palpatine, so you just have to have Adam Driver do a fucking like Palpatine impression the whole time.
It's just Adam Driver trying to be like, no, listen to me, I am evil, I am the Lord of the Sith, and Mark Hamill and Han Solo are just being there, yeah, shut the fuck up, get in the car, we're going on a road trip.
You don't take him seriously for being evil, so you just have that subbed clip of him from the movie where he's a white nationalist. Get back here, you spear chucking, chicken eating piece of shit! Ah! This is just like,
Wait,
I
I
love
just fucking
how.
realized.
Did you know
Please,
like
Ben.
Palpatine was a hilarious racist against like non-humans? He was
please,
great.
Ben. Please, Ben, don't do it. Yeah, I just had sex and I'm about to eat nachos. They're the greatest day of my life.
Oh god, you know who we need in a fucking? We need Triclops, the mutant son.
No!
of
Zeem's gonna go berserk.
We're not talking about Triclops again. We've already talked about
It's
Triclops.
time to talk about Triclops. It's time to talk about the most
Stop
important
talking about
character.
Palpatine's failed retarded clone that became a
What the fuck is
Scene
Triclops?
just goes deadly fucking serious.
No.
No, we're not talking about
I'm
Triclops.
talking about
Fuck off.
the motherfucker who got thrown into a spice mine and then became the future teller.
Fucking
Cobra,
they made
tell
him
me about
retarded for no
Triclops.
reason. Okay, so Palpatine decides that he's gonna have a son to inherit the Empire. And then as he's having like his perfect child genetically created in like a clone vet, he's like,
Because he can't fuck.
she's
He's
a
too old,
geneticist.
I don't know.
And the geneticist is like, yes, my emperor. Make my child retarded.
No. What happens is because the geneticist is fucked up, the child just has a third eye in the middle of his fucking head.
He's retarded, he's mentally insane, he's brain damaged, and he has a fucking third eye for no reason, so they just name him Triclops, and they present it to Palpatine, and Palpatine's just like,
Throw him into the spice mines, you fucking idiot. I want this.
it's great, they just toss him into the spice mines, and Triclops is like, I will show you my evil power, father, you fuck. And then he's too retarded to do anything. Fucking
No.
Oh, God.
No.
He's like two people living inside the same body. Part of
This
him
dude-
well-intentioned, the other part an evil and dangerous genius inventor.
Is this Neil Druckmann's Star Wars character? From the fucking
great, isn't
playing
it?
card. He looks like a cross between Magneto and Quicksilver.
It's
Well, I mean,
fucking
Quicksilver
great.
is Magneto's son. So.
Yeah, I know, but he looks like a composite.
I fucked my own son. Master of Oh shit! I don't know what powers I have now. I'm retarded.
Animal magnetism.
Animal magnet. That was the best. That was the best fucking use of Magneto until the stupid Doom arc, where he was like, "I'm going to fuck with the magnetic poles of the Earth. You killed my children. Now I will fucking crumble the reality around you."
A wooden gun. Magneto defeated by a common wooden gun.
That was the fucking comic where he was using magnetism to manifest plasma bolts, and he only did it once to kill Wolverine. And it was in the Ultimates universe, so Wolverine got blown to pieces except for his hand. Like his hand flew off the fucking ship or whatever and landed in the ocean, and the rest of his body regenerated from the hand. He was like, "Are you fucking serious?"
His powers are bullshit. It's so stupid.
They are. It's fucking stupid.
It's
Whoever fucking God is.
But Magneto, Wolverine, I destroyed you. You see, bub, I masturbated this morning to trap pornography, and from that single drop of semen, I regenerated back.
Yeah, that's the thing I fucking don't get. Why is it that if he's like literally a starfish, he doesn't grow into more Wolverines if you cut him up?
Exactly.
It's because that only happens in the Ultimate universe. And
in Marvel, like a metaphysical soul exists, and it's just dumb. And
Look, let me give you like the funniest fucked up porn comic you'll probably ever find if it was real. Imagine if Wolverine has sex with someone, and then after the cream pie, it becomes like the scene from Alien, except it's a fully grown Wolverine just slowly growing inside.
Oh, Jesus fuck.
No wonder Phoenix was mad at him.
Oh, Norik, that's canonically not, that can't happen because Wolverine has gotten women pregnant before.
But how? How?
Hey, wait, I found a dumb thing. I found a dumber thing. All right, I found a really dumb thing. All right, so that's Triclops, right? He's got a third eye on the right side of his. He's got a third eye on the right side of his fucking forehead that's closed all the time, right?
I thought that was a
and
tuna.
He's the Emperor's son. He's the Emperor's son. Look at this man from a totally different comic during the same time.
Yeah, no,
Trioculus, who actually does have a third eye in the center of his forehead. And he declared himself the Emperor of the Galactic Empire.
That was the guy who was pretending to be Triclops.
That is the stupidest fucking thing.
Look at how excited this dude is to rule the galaxy. He has spunk. Like he has the energy needed to corral all these dipshits into line.
How the fuck did he climb on top
of the Empire the year after the Battle of Endor?
That is fucking
Wait,
hilarious.
is that what happened? I'm forgetting. It might not be that he was pretending to be Triclops. It might just be a different thing, but I don't remember.
This is why Star Wars is so fucking stupid, because you have like stories that are taken dead serious, like slavery, the human condition, rebellion, and meanwhile, up in the stars, some fucking dude sitting in his chair with his third eye being like, finally, the power will be mine. I will rule the galaxy, a supreme
Oh yeah,
warlord."
Triclops' claim to inheritance of the Imperial throne was strengthened by his resemblance to Triclops. Third eye son.
Also,
yeah, okay, so he's pretending to be
the best
Triclops.
thing is you notice that he's got his fist clenched like that. The reason why he has that in every single picture of him is because that's apparently the other glove of Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And just everyone's like, oh, it's this glove of Vader.
Can you imagine going into the council and being like, okay, what's your claim to fame? I found this old sock from the old guy who used to sit in that chair.
Also,
right,
apparently he trusted a hut to help him out and then got frozen in carbonite for him. And this is the guy he trusted.
That seems completely fucking trustworthy.
Why would you ever trust the Hut?
Dude, he's got hair squigs.
Yeah.
That is fucking
it's Zorba
ridiculous.
the Hutt. And then the best thing was that he somehow got unfrozen from carbonite and threw Zorba
Threw
the Hutt
him out of the
Sarlacc.
spaceship.
He threw him into a Sarlacc.
God damn. The fucking huts just look
Star
like
Wars
sperm
Expanded
cells.
Universe was just the most retarded shit.
It is.
What did you find?
Scene, for God's sake, scroll down and look at the image for the death section. It's Leia Organa shooting him through the heart with her laser eyes while some dude is riding around a fucking metal wheelchair.
No, because
Amazing.
that was a robot Leia he was trying to marry to like get.
That is fucking ridiculous. Holy shit.
Trioculus' courtship of Princess Leia.
Can we
That is
please
fucking
just let
ridiculous.
this
Robot
piece
Leia
of
he was
shit
marrying
IP
to like give her
die?
fake legitimacy. So it's just.
This is the.
Okay, he had his third eye possessed hypnotic powers, but he had no force sensitivity.
That is fucking
No,
ridiculous.
So his
How does
third eye
that
was
work?
able to emit powerful magnetic forces.
Are you talking about Trioculus or Triclops? Because Triclops got.
Trioculus.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Wait, hang on. Trioculus was not force sensitive, yet he was able to hypnotize people through the power of magnets.
His third eye, no. His third eye was hypnotic and also could emit magnetic forces. And he had no force sensitivity, but he put cybernetic implants in the fingertips underneath the gauntlet of Vader that let him pretend he had force lightning. So he went around telling everybody that he was the son of Palpatine.
Yeah,
That
like
is
there's a
fucking
whole bunch of
ridiculous.
dumb shit that's not technically force that you can do in the Star Wars universe. It's like close enough to force that you could just fake it.
I don't know. He's kind of growing on me.
Trioculus believed that wearing the glove of Darth Vader would grant him the Dark Lord's telekinetic powers. When this proved not to be the case, his droid MD5 installed a set of sonic devices in the glove that could emit a high-pitched sound capable of killing a target. These two would enhance the illusion that he could master the Force. Like the lightning devices, they also afflicted his body, eventually forcing him to discard the glove. So he was like, "Behold my Force choke," and then he would just make a man's brain melt. And be like, "Look, I Force choked that guy."
Why is this brain
Amazing.
here?
Oh, this is retarded.
Oh god. And you know,
I
this is
can't
somehow
believe
still...
you got me to think about Star Wars again. This happens every
Yeah.
time.
And this is all somehow still less retarded than the fucking Vong Wars. Holy
Oh,
shit, that was so
fuck
fucking
wrong. Nobody likes.
Ah, yes, the
wrong.
Force immune Chinese invaders from beyond the stars.
fucking Fu Manchus
They're
from
on the
space.
stars.
And then the best thing was that apparently the only reason why they invaded the galaxy was because their home galaxy was destroyed by autistic robots who became triggered when viewing things that aren't perfectly geometric. Like they would cut
I'm sorry,
planets
what?
into perfect.
No.
Yeah. There's a
No,
whole
it was
fucking...
like the fucking like possible backstory behind the Vong hating technology. It's because two toy robot looking motherfuckers fought above their planet.
Huh.
C-3PO and
That's basically
R2-D2.
it. Like one faction of robots was like, we're gonna make functional robots in any kind of shape, I guess, and the other one was like, no, you fucking faggot! Everyone has to be symmetrical and perfectly geometrical. You cuck! We will genocide everything.
This
And
sounds
they
like
did.
this sounds like an argument between a Swedish and an English architect.
This sounds like is this just the? Did they just like rip off the backstory to the fucking Modrons from D&D Second
No,
Edition?
because they don't really go into like it's supposed lore. It's not really confirmed as far as I know.
Oh,
No,
God.
but listen, that's the best fucking part, because don't ask me how I know this, but apparently there was a short-lived cartoon that was just R2-D2 and fucking whatever Goldfag's name was, Goldman. Like the two
C-3PO?
robots, right?
Yeah, I told
Yeah,
you about this,
C-3PO.
Cobra. I told you about this.
No, did you tell me about the time they get molested?
Yes.
Like the fucking...
No,
the
go on,
fucking...
explain it. But
We
yes,
keep going down this rabbit hole.
Like they get raped, they get fucking... They get Harvey Weinstein by one of these god machines, these god robots, because I really like that. I really like that scene. It really evoked the feeling in me. Like the whole... They get captured by these Imperial troops, right? And they're like, the Imperials, they're like, so two droids, what should we do with them? Should we like reprogram them or salvage them or something? They're like, nah, let's just let them get raped by this weird fucking robot that we're following. And this alien god robot from another universe who's calling the shots on these Imperials for no reason shows up. And he looks like Thomas the Tank Engine if he were a rapist. Like, he doesn't even have arms. It's literally a face on a
find him.
locomotive. And
I
he's like,
remember this
yo.
animation.
Yeah, and he's like, yo, you two little service droids look pretty slutty. You want to go into my robot jacuzzi? And like they're in his robot jacuzzi. He's got 4 of these random robots, which are like his harem of robot sluts. And he's just like, you wanna get fucking nasty? You wanna have some weird fucking robot sex? And of course, I think R2D2 just murders him because he is a homicidal maniac. And that was the whole thing. They met Robot God, and he tried to rape them.
Fucking amazing.
One of the robot gods.
Star Wars deep lore.
Yeah, okay. Let's see. I think I found it.
Jesus, Mark White. Oh God, Mark White. I think the worst fucking thing I've ever learned about an actor is that you know Solid Snake's voice actor was it David Hayter? Was that his name?
Yes.
Yeah.
He will compliment your persona on Twitter for $10.
that just sounds like a more passive version of what I'm doing though, so I can respect the hustle.
Jesus Christ, Alex. I'm
What?
concerned.
Alex, why did you do this to me? Why'd you make me see this?
You made me think about Star Wars. I'll make you think about
Mark
furries.
Hamill replying. Mark Hamill replying to Ashoka's. Ooh,
I fucking,
Now we have to read the copy
I
paste. Now
fucking hate
somebody has to do
furries.
it.
Like, every fucking time they like
I
say
would tell you about Ahsoka Tano.
Okay. Guys, do you want to have some epic D&D roleplay? I'll go first. Cobra, you're playing a dwarf ranger. I'm a drow. I cast level 5 spell Testicular Torsion. Roleplay reaction.
I would, but it's 3 a.m. here, and if I make an appropriate reaction, my neighbors would call the police.
Can you imagine me shitposting Cobra into getting into an ambulance because the neighbors are like, something is going on the floor above us. Like, someone is dying.
Yes,
God.
this is the police. Somebody reported a woman screaming like a high-pitched girly scream, like a small child being beaten. We're here to
Look,
investigate.
Look,
For some reason, the walls started leaking cum and green slime. We don't know what happened.
Okay.
Oh my lord.
God. We should probably end it on that.
Mammoth buttholes.
Yeah. We
The
didn't even get a chance.
buttholes of mammoths.
We didn't get a chance to talk about Tardops, the meme gate conspiracy, and the lost recording. And we didn't get a chance to talk about me and Scene's horrible adventure with my old wargaming buddies and Twilight Imperium.
We'll record one thing about that and just go into like detail about that and make it its own thing.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a shitcast with half, and we can cover both of those things later.
Yeah, because I'm starting to forget it, but I'm gonna like see if I can go and like remember.
Remember, give yourself a green text. Go bitch to TG about it. Oh wait, TG's dead.
He's fucking dead. I'm not going to Worldbuilding in TG because that's like fucking. No, I don't want a quest thread. Sorry.
Hey guys, I have a story I want to green text to you guys about a tabletop game. Yeah, that's nice and all. Get in the quest thread.
We're
Oh
busy
God,
wallpaper thread. Sorry.
fucking.
Are we
Wow.
talking
Wow.
about, are we talking about how shit TG has become?
Yeah.
Yes. Alex, just say mammoth buttholes again.
What did you say?
For
Just say
TG.
mammoth
Yeah.
buttholes again.
All right. You see, I prepared a Wikipedia article about this.
Oh my god.
Did you know, like, this is probably common knowledge by now, but did you know that if an elephant dies or is killed in any way, the first thing a scavenging animal will go for is the butthole? Because the hide is so thick that you can't tear it open easily, whereas the butthole is like soft tissue.
Why are we
See,
talking about this again?
God damn it! Not this shit.
God damn it.